start of the NBA week, the end of the WNBA season, some big hat tricks in soccer. The Argos are done their season, and the Leafs, well, they keep on leaping. Welcome to the House That Happened, sponsored by Shuey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in the GTA. You know it's number one in our hearts, the Phoenix rising from the ashes. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name's Cruz. How you doing, buddy?
Good, how about you?
I think that we're looking around what is now the shambles of Shuey's that's going to rise again, and it's starting to get comfortable in here, but I do have to say the weather's changing. I don't know how long we'll be broadcasting from here soon.
I was a little bit worried that I underdressed to come in here, but it's actually not as cold as I was worried about.
That's what I'm saying. So we're trying to hold it down, but like Serge, if you're listening, I think that limited broadcasts to be coming from Shuey's. I think they'll be coming from Cruz's Chaos very soon. No disrespect to the establishment. I'm already prepared to do it. I'm just, because we are so positive about getting Shuey's back on the map, it's good to let the people know we're in the house, correct?
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So that's what we're trying to do. However, weather is starting to say no, correct? But I will like my prediction. We got great weather till the end of October. How many times have I said that on the show? People, the earth has twisted. Don't worry about this climate change shit. The world moved 2 degrees. And look at the last 3, 4, 5 years in a row. We've had 20-degree weather at the end of October. I'm just going with the facts, right? Okay,
sure.
We're not there, and considering I'm waiting for an election, we're not a political show, we're not a barometric pressure show, but we got to let the people know
we're still a while away from our election.
What's that?
We're still a while away from ours.
I doubt it. I think something's going to happen by Christmas.
Oh.
I'm thinking,
okay.
Oh yeah, it's got to, or the country's or we're a fraud. We've already turned into a welfare state. Let's just turn that around, so to speak. But let's be positive, because we are in here on a Sunday.
Yes.
And I know everybody's looking at their fantasy roster, and everybody's panicked about game time decisions like I am, because I made a faux pas before I started. I did take the Rams on Thursday night. I thought it was easily the easiest pick of the week.
Well,
yes, it was. Well, we'll talk about when we get to the football section, because there's reasons why. You know, it has a lot to do with that city across from Windsor, Ontario. But we'll discuss that along the way. How was your week otherwise?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Are you going to did you already let everybody know that you were down at the home opener?
I did not, but I was at the Raptors home opener.
Cool. Very cool.
The results could have been better, but we still had a good time. We're
going to have a quick talk on the Raptors along the way, because it's way too early. But what you're seeing on the court is like, ooh, I'm not really sure yet. And
they certainly don't look like a play-in team.
Well, considering they don't have IQ and RJ yet, we'll have to do this after we have 10 or 15 games or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice to see you are rocking the old school 30th anniversary purple baseball cap, vintage. Looks amazing. I got to get one. Got to braid my hair first if I'm going to get something like that on my head. But that looks badass.
Yeah, we got some cool free T-shirts, too, with the 30th anniversary logo in the purple.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Like, as soon as you walked in, everyone got them?
No, they were, on the seats.
Oh, on the seats. Yeah. Even better.
So I was able to grab an extra one, because they put them in the standing room behind us, too, and, no one was there, so.
Good move on your part.
Well, everyone was doing it, so I was just like, I should grab one before they're gone.
Exactly. That's a freebie. That's like a perk of being there opening night, so to speak, right?
Yeah. I mean, better than what my brother got for being at Leafs opening night. He just got a crummy towel.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a cup that said 1967 or something on it like that. You know what I mean?
No, why would they be ruthless like that?
I don't know.
Usually they give out scarves. That's been the traditional thing for the Leafs lately. But I guess they got cheap.
The scarves.
The scarves are cool, but a towel, that just screams of cheapness.
And they shouldn't be, because you're MLSE, right? You smell of money. Rogers is your main driver now, so let's let the people know. Especially since you gave out T-shirts at the Raptors.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And speaking of shout-outs, I only have one shout-out this week, and it's kind of weak, but I want to say it. Only because we're huge disciples of this guy, but I really like the fact that nobody's talking about Tom Brady doing color anymore, because he's doing such a great job. Shout out to Brady, who had to have the most eyes on him, most criticized, most what is he going to do in the history of becoming a color guy in sports. Don't you agree?
Sure. I mean, I haven't been listening to him too much, to be honest. But one thing we forgot to bring up, actually, is that he is going to be a minority owner of the Raiders now.
I'm coming to that. That's one of the reasons I want to do this show. Go ahead.
No, I just think it's I don't know. I think that's very strange considering the limits that it's going to put on his broadcast career.
But I think what he's done now is he's eased into it because I think that there was so much expectations about what he was supposed to do. And what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to talk about the game. So Tom, do it naturally. So what I'm saying is like because the Lions have been one of his broadcast games and stuff like that, so I've been able to hear him, especially the last couple of weeks. And then the blowout game, he was he's talking like it's sounding more natural. You know what I mean? He's sounding more Greg Olson than Tony Romo, and I like that. if you know what I'm saying for a comparison point of view.
Sure.
But shout out to Tom for stepping over that barrier, and nobody's talking anymore. He's just doing a great job.
Yeah, as long as he's not Jason Witten in the broadcast booth.
We're not there. But it's interesting because he has been restricted. You know that, eh? He's no longer allowed into some production meetings.
Yeah, because they do like the interviews with the players before, and like they go through like the facilities.
Yeah, and he will not be allowed. But I think that he knows, like he figured it out. Like I'm going to talk about the game anyway. It's like he's playing against a team. You know, he comes out there, he's in the box. Because you remember, when you're sitting in the box, you can see things on the field that we can't because your screen's just not that wide. But you can figure it out if you count the guys in line of scrimmage. That's what I've been doing a lot lately. Oh, I think they're going to try this, and they're going to be trying that. Or all those Madden people out there thinking they know all the plays. Stop it. Do you play Madden?
I used to.
I'm just not a gamer. I'm just not. Guitar, yes. Game, no.
You could. I mean? They have like NFL head coach. I feel like that's more up your alley.
That's probably would be, yeah.
There's like an F1 manager game too.
I should do that. I wonder how long I'd crash my car, but let's just get to that. Any shout-outs?
Well, you're just managing, so like,
yeah,
you don't drive.
Yeah.
I have a few shout-outs actually.
Okay,
I'll relate to the Humber Hawks. So,
yes, I want to hear it.
The men's soccer team won the gold medal in the province of Ontario in the OCAA for the 11th time in the last 14 seasons. And they will be going to nationals November 6th through 9th at St. Thomas University in Fredericton, New Brunswick, going for their 8th national in the last 12 years.
That's amazing. Is this the same coaching staff? Has it been that consistent?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Shout out to the coaching staff.
It's been the head coach now. He's been there the last 11 seasons now.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's consistency on that in the infrastructure. That's an amazing record, man.
Yeah, they won the final 2-0 yesterday against, oh my God, who was it? Algonquin from Ottawa.
Okay.
And like those are the two like top soccer programs in the province. Basically, like they've won 26 of the last like 31 provincial titles combined.
Okay, so these will all be like the Humber colleges of their area from Nova Scotia, Quebec, Saskatchewan, everywhere, right?
Yes, basically.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so a very strong soccer program for Humber. The women also captured silver for the second season in a row, losing to Seneca again. The girls, they had a little bit of a rough start to the season. They started 0-4, but they fought back and ended up finishing strong, so they should be very proud of how the season went.
They played their final game of the year, right?
Yeah.
They were in the championship. Way to go, girls. Way to go.
And the women captured bronze in rugby sevens for Humber as well.
Where did they play that at, Humber? Where do they play the
so
rugby?
This,
where's the rugby played
So
at?
we do have a rugby field, but they haven't been using it too much. They've been using a field in Brampton, basically close to where, not the battalion, but where where are they called? The Steelheads.
The Steel. Oh, I know.
There's like that. There's like a big facility there.
Yeah, I played baseball there. That's the same area, right? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, they use the rugby field there.
Okay, I got you.
Actually, I think I'm going to be calling men's rugby next Saturday there.
Really?
Yeah, the semifinal.
So you'll be outside? Is there a press box in there, or are you just up in an upper thing?
So where we did last time, there's kind of like a building with like a deck, and we're kind of on the deck. So
Any
if
heat? Any heat?
No. Well, in the building, yes.
Well, you guys will be outside.
Yeah, but it's just one game, so.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. And this is going to be by is this going to be up by the battalion where the battalion play in that?
Yeah, same facility.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just looking for entertainment.
Yeah. Any other shout-outs?
Not really. I just want to shout out to all the dog walkers in my neighborhood that take the time to socialize their dogs. It's a subject that came up this week about, when you're walking your dog. I have the friendliest dog in the world. You know that, Stanley. But a couple people have taken their dogs and averted them to the other side of the street. And I always feel kind of like, did my dog do something wrong? But however, it's been there that they're saying that some of the littler dogs are nastier and bitier, and they get all crazier. So.
Yeah, I noticed that too, like where some of the people with the smaller dogs will just like walk on the road.
Yeah, and I wonder why they're doing that. But one of the neighbors is very cool because they come up and they got a dog. It looks like Stanley's older sister. You know what I mean? It looks exactly like Stanley, but it's just a little bit bigger. And they were talking about like the friendliness and the socialness of your dog and averting it and making it look like who's mean. And I'm going, dogs are social just like people. Say hi, happy hump day, happy Monday. Hope the Leafs win and keep on walking, correct?
Sure. Good. I love how you said you had no more shout-outs, and then you go on to talk for another 2 minutes. Either way, we'll move this into Formula One, where Charles Leclerc won the U.S. Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, and Ferrari right back in the title hunt. Well, I mean, they were in the constructors' hunt, but now Leclerc right back in the drivers' title hunt. And
I think that's really cool.
For joy.
I bet you are, because we've got Milani and Ferrari. Can we say them synonymously now? Okay, well, that we're at the house that happens. In any event, I think it's really neat. We were talking about this off a production before we got on camera, but how Ferrari is sneaking up the back door because McLaren and Red Bull are taking too much time to complain about each other or get at each other or make mistakes with each other. But I thought the really good thing about the race last week, I liked that place in Texas, but Leclerc on the first couple laps got in a position. He started
first corner position.
Yeah, and he started at fourth, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Started at fourth, moved in here. His car was at high end. He had Sands behind him to protect him the rest of the way. Easy victory. I thought the most fun about the race was Norris and Verstappen battling for third.
Yeah.
Highly entertaining. Don't you think so?
Sure, although the penalties at turn one I thought were a little inconsistent for the race.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And we're going to find out this weekend in Mexico with those funny corners on the street lap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's already been brought up by Zach Brown. Like, are we too many rules or not enough rules? You know what I mean? But I'm going to say it should be like whatever it is. If the car line is in, if the car goes over, everybody's playing by the same rules. Why are we talking about it?
Sure. It looked like that Lando was pushed out by Max.
How come it's always Max pushing the guy out? Why isn't the other guy pushing Max? How come they always say it? And every time they always point the finger at him. Like, I heard the guy saying that. I looked it around. He was in his lane. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't push over. Norris took a chance, went out. Sorry about your luck, buddy. Sorry about your luck. And it cost him the 5 seconds. Even though I thought at the end of the race it was really cool that Lando just raked that car. Mm-hmm. He let it was going, you know what I mean? But he ended up, he needed 5 seconds. He only got 4. And Max got there. So I think it's interesting how everything's tightened up this close at this time of the season.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
After this, only 4 more races.
Yep. And so it's one thing we forgot to mention last week as well is they are getting rid of the fastest lap point next year.
I wonder why.
I think it was because of that stuff about Perez stealing it in one of the races a couple weeks ago.
So what are they saying? It's a gratuitous thing? So don't bother getting it for making the effort? I don't know. It's good, bad, or ugly.
Well, you know what I think about that? I think they should just open it up for the whole race, for like the lower teams to have a chance at a point.
Well, why not? That would make it more competitive, wouldn't it?
I think so.
I'm good. Okay, we're good with the house that happens. Wish that they would bring it back and let it go. A point's a point's a point.
I think they should give a point for pole position too.
I always thought they did, but they don't.
Never.
No, that's what I'm saying. After all that work and qualifying, all you had to go through, I think a point would be pole position at
basically every other racing series does, like NASCAR, IndyCar, like look around.
Well, I think that this Mexico one, because now that I'm getting more versed into the whole F1 scene, this weekend could be.
Well, hold on, a little bit more about the U.S. So, obviously Lewis Hamilton qualified poorly. He was having a cracker, to borrow a British term, of a first lap, but then on lap 2, just went right into the sand.
And bye-bye.
Yeah. Although,
very disappointing for him too, eh?
Yeah. Oh, especially since he's been so consistent, so great at that Austin track too, right?
Yes.
And then Russell ended up moving up to P7 after disappointing qualifying as well. And the top 3 all within 48 points for constructors. Leclerc 79 points back of Max, and that could improve a little bit after Ferrari had a pretty successful qualifying yesterday in Mexico.
Definitely.
And then do you want to talk a little bit about this Red Bull controversy? We got into it a little bit more, but I wasn't quite versed in what it was. Now I understand it a little bit better.
What's that?
The Red Bull, like the mechanism.
Oh yeah. That, okay, but anyways, what I'm before we get there, because I'm glad you brought up that. The constructors' points and the leading points have gotten so tight at this end of the year. Like, look at that last year. We were blowing through this because Red Bull was just killing it. And I like when you even think, I think Mercedes is too far behind in the constructors.
Yeah, agreed.
But today that's what I'm saying. Today could be a huge day in this season, considering where Ferrari should be. But anyways, that's what I heard Zach Brown just talking about, the mechanism. Go ahead. What were you saying about the one that lowers the car?
Yeah, so there's like a mechanism that they use to like adjust the car, and then like the other teams, especially McLaren and Mercedes, are arguing that Red Bull could be using this to get around Parc Fermé between qualifying and the race, even though there's no evidence of it. It's just like they're mad that they could potentially do it.
That drives me crazy. That's what I'm saying. But you know what? When they were asking about some of the alterations that they were making on the McLaren wing about a month ago, all of a sudden Zach Brown had selective memory. All of a sudden, when someone said, well, you know, there's this, like, I mean, it was like, I'm not sure it's one-upmanship, but that could be a significant advantage if there is something going on with that lever. I understand the dynamics.
Yeah, but like for Red Bull to use, but like there's hiding in plain sight. Like the race had a good line there. Like, there's hiding in plain sight, and then there's just like doing something illegally right in front of everybody.
Yeah, okay, so that doesn't make any sense. But the fact that Zach Brown made it such a huge issue when he was under fire a couple of weeks ago or about a month ago about what he was doing with the wing stuff, I go, this is all one-upmanship. But I think you made the most interesting point before we get on here is like if Red Bull and McLaren keep staring at each other and don't pay attention to Ferrari, they might just slip right by. And this is going to be a crazy race today.
Oh, it is.
You know what I mean? Like look at all the things you've got to factor in. You know that I've understood now in F1, it is a chess match when you're concerning what, especially when it comes to the tire situation, the grip on the track, the temperatures, and now they have altitude. So you add all this in, it's going to be very interesting. And I didn't understand what this whole Pirelli thing was because they're testing tires for next year. Like all of a sudden you're going to have a qualifying and everybody's got to use these tires to see if they're going to be effective for next year. What's that all about?
Isn't that more of a testing thing? That's not in the race.
No, but I mean, why were they, I didn't understand that. I'm listening to everybody, and the guy says, well, we got to do it now because it's too hot in Abu Dhabi. We can't do it here because of this and that. So this is our last opportunity on this type of track. And I did agree. I did like with the fact that they said.
Yeah, I mean, Pirelli's kind of pissing me off with how they're handling the tire situation. I kind of hope that F1 moves on from them and goes to like Bridgestone or Michelin.
Yeah, because it just seems so weird to me. But the guy's comeback was the main reason he was doing it here is because of altitude, so that he could include all the inclement things that could happen while you're using tires in all races at all times, because it could be very hot today because it's Mexico City.
But like my problem with the Pirelli is that like there always just seems to be like one strategy that works, where like the tire should be designed where there should be like multiple strategies that can work.
Thank you.
And they should all be viable. Meanwhile, it's like if you're not on the right one, then you're fucked.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. This whole chess movement with the tires may not be even decided on until the start of the race today, because it appeared everybody was using soft tires in the qualifying.
Yeah, well, that's how it always is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they could fly around on them and stuff, but nobody's deciding what they're going to do. Like what? Every team's got 3 sets or 4 sets. I was looking at them going, what?
Yeah, you have a certain amount allocated for each session.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now what are they going to run them today? What do you think the guys are going to start on? Is it going to be because of the weather? Is it going to be coming to the track? Because they say when you're going really fast and the way that the altitude is, what is it? The guy had some freaking, those algebra questions. You know when the guy, did you see that on one of the qualifying when he's explaining it? When you do altitude, temperature, track grip equals tire to the left center, and I'm going, oh man, my brain's hurting. Stop. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that the tires are going to be very significant today.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually a combination of hards and softs for the races, so
I'm just interested to see, like, I'm learning all of this. Okay, so what I'm understanding is, like, first of all, I'm watching the qualifying, and I'm saying Pirelli's doing a test. Wait a second. Aren't we in the heat of competition here? Why are we doing a test? That's number one. Then when I brought up the altitude thing, And then they were saying that the surface in this track is notorious for not gripping anyway. Then you got to put in, because there's going to be no rain today, right? It's just going to
I don't think so.
It's going to be 80 degrees or something like that, eh? And it depends on the time of day. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of things that I really like learning about sports, but when it starts getting into mathematical framing of how it's going to go on for 2 hours in a car race, bro, it's a little too much. Get on the track and start running around. I'll figure it out from there. You know what I'm saying? What's your prediction on the race today?
Ferrari double podium.
I knew you were going to say that. I just want you to hear it live on the air, people.
Well,
I would say, if I was in your position, I'd say the same.
Well, let's be real. Piastri starting 17th and Perez starting 18th, so that's going to be a huge advantage for Ferrari because they can undercut both those guys like Lando Max in the pit lane.
Oh, 100%. That's what I'm saying. And this is what's going to make, and they're racing 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of time for adjustment or doing stuff like Buddy that smashed his car, Russell. That put it in the wall 2 weeks in a row. Like, isn't he starting to get in on like what you can do with fixing your car?
The cost cap?
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. It's going on. Let's see today. I think it's going to be a good race. What time's that? 4 o'clock though, right?
4 o'clock.
Right in the heart of football. Thank God for PVR.
Then the boys will be in Sao Paulo, Brazil next weekend. One of my personal favorites. And then off 3 weeks and then Vegas.
So then it goes Vegas, Abu Dhabi, and
Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Vegas,
like
Qatar.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, in a row, but all week, 3 weeks in a row, right? They don't stop.
December 8th, the last one.
That's right. All right. Wow. Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Yeah,
isn't
basically
it?
a month and a half.
Yep, got you.
We will take this from Formula One to the Toronto Argonauts, where they won a huge matchup, 38-31 versus their rival Ottawa Red Blacks. Chad Kelly had a great game, 331 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 25 yards on the ground, including 1 rushing touchdown. They lost at Edmonton 31-30 in overtime yesterday, but Kelly was benched, and they already locked up the semifinal home game versus Ottawa, November 2nd, next weekend, 3 p.m.
Well, we all know that was a mail-in, the Edmonton game, and then they're still laughing in the States again because how did Edmonton win?
The Rouge.
The Americans are taking the piss out of it. Not once has it happened in Canada, but it has happened again. First thing I heard somewhere in some sports show this morning. They had brought it up already, and I'm going, okay. But that's just a nuance of the game. Stop it. Huge game for the Argos. It's clearly saying that I'm of the belief now I'm driving a bit the Kelly bandwagon because he's clearly been the best quarterback in the league since he's come back. There's nobody touching him. If Toronto can give us a modicum of defense, they're going to make it they should make it a battle in the Eastern Conference Finals because they should win. If they don't win next week, their whole season's a disaster.
Oh, obviously. And no, you can't lose that game to Ottawa. You can't.
No, absolutely not. And that game last night was a scrimmage. They were pulling everybody and their brother out of that game. Edmonton, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You knew it by halftime. You're going, and I feel bad for the broadcasters then because anybody with any kind of a brain see what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way you play the game. You don't want anyone to get hurt and going on. Edmonton's pretty well out of it too, right? Even though they win the game.
Oh, they're done.
Yeah, so there was no significance for them. So a lot of business decisions were made during the Argo-Elks game, and I think that they were all good, including putting Kelly on the bench because there's no sense in sending him out there.
No.
You know what I mean?
So next weekend, like I said, Ottawa at Toronto, 3 p.m., and then BC at Saskatchewan at 6:30. And then Montreal and Winnipeg are in the waiting right now.
And as well they should be because at this point in the season, they have pretty well confirmed that they've been the 2 most consistent teams in the CFL. Yeah. I just like the way that Toronto's come down the stretch because remember, we started 10 games without our boy. So now that it's come down, maybe we would have stolen a couple of more wins. Anyways, it's kind of weird how Montreal was in our position last year. Can we duplicate what they did?
I don't think Toronto's defense has been consistent enough. That's the one problem. They got to do it like Chad Kelly's got to put like this team on his shoulders.
That's how the only way I see them winning, and they with the Argo defense and making that stop at the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Good luck, Argos.
Yeah, and shout out to Randy Ambrosi. He will be stepping down as CFL commissioner after next season.
And how long has he been there? 7 years now?
Something like that.
Yeah. They got to move him over because I'm not going to say why, but anyone that's running the CFL after it's like Prime Minister, so many years, get out. Get out. Get out.
Take notes, Gary Bettman.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a different infrastructure. Ask Roger Goodell. Okay. We're on to the
soccer report.
Thank you.
So I'm going to keep it, I'm not going to talk about too much of the club games that went on this week. I mean, Chelsea lost to Liverpool 2-1.
Yes.
Actually, El Clasico was fantastic yesterday. I don't know if you saw any of the highlights of that.
Yes.
Barcelona beating Real Madrid 4-0.
4-0,
in Madrid.
In Madrid. I heard it was on the news. It made the news here on the sportscast here. I went, ooh, that's interesting.
Lewandowski got 2 goals, but it was hat trick watch where Harry Kane last weekend got a natural hat trick in a 4-0 win versus VfB Stuttgart.
Yep.
And then, of course, we had a ton of Champions League matchups. Milan beating Club Bruges from Belgium 3-1. Juventus actually losing to VfB Stuttgart 1-0 at home.
At home.
So Juventus, it seems like they're focusing more on Serie A than Champions League this year because they've dropped already a couple Champions League matches.
Yes, they have.
Aston Villa beat Bologna 2-0. Madrid beat Borussia Dortmund 5-2 in one of the matchups that I said to watch out for last week.
Yes.
Vinicius Jr. got a hat trick in that one.
5-2, that caught me off guard when I was checking the scores. I said, ooh, I thought it was going to be closer.
Well, those German teams, they tend to be very offensive-minded. So, and then a team like Madrid, you can catch them with their pants down, right?
There you go.
Inter won at Young Boys 1-0. Liverpool won at RP Leipzig 1-0. So
Man City won?
Yes, 5-0 at versus Sparta Prague. Haaland had 2 goals, including that spectacular end-to-end passing play. Oh my God, that was the beautiful game right there.
Exactly. I made the highlights here on one of the plays of the week. Plays of the week kind of thing.
That's like perfection. That's just like coach on the drawing board, kind of deal.
Yeah, no, that makes it the beautiful game. I think they should have more plays like that. Now, okay,
go on. It's almost as if the other team is trying hard to defend, but it's like your shot attempts thing.
We'll wait till you hear the gospel today.
If we have time.
Oh, if we have time.
Atletico Madrid lost at home to Lille 3-1. Jonathan David with 2 goals in that match, our Canadian boy.
Yep.
Barcelona beat Bayern 4-1, and Rafinha had a hat trick.
Yes.
So 3 hat tricks last week. And then Aston Villa and Liverpool are the only teams with perfect records so far in Champions League. Our next game day is November 5th through 6th, so another week away.
Okay, so let me tell you this now. This is where I went to the table. Okay, and I forgot now, if you look at all the leagues, they got theirs, and now, where is this going to go, the Champions League, because I don't pay enough attention to it. So what's going to happen? Those 8 teams are going to go on to a playoff to go on?
No, so the top 8 get a bye automatically after. So they play 8, let's call them like preliminary stage games.
Yeah, 8 games. I got that.
Yeah, so the top 8 after, you automatically go to the round of 16, and then the next 16 teams have to play in for the remaining spots.
Okay, that's what it is.
So 9 through 24 play against each other to get those final spots.
Okay, so that means, and then the other guys get buys. Those top 8 will get buys.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's going to be the Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Barcelonas, the
Aston Villa could be in that position.
Aston Villa, yeah, they're all going to be there now because it's pretty bundled up. But they've only played what?
It's only been 3 of 8 games.
3 of 8 games to play. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a different format. So I think the preliminary stage is going to spill into the new year because before they used to have the groups. It used to be group stage, and that would be all done by like early December.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because we were talking about here where I was saying how the way they schedule it so they don't wear the guys out. But now when you add the 8 games onto the 32 games in the schedules and the internationals, these boys get pretty busy.
Sure, but like these teams are usually prepared, and they'll have like guys where you're like, okay, we're going to use you primarily for Champions League. We're going to use you primarily for our league games.
Hence the reason the roster's 24, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason for 24. Like, I'm just figuring this out along the way. Because when I looked at the table, I said, wow, that's a lot of teams. But when you think about it, it was only 24 teams in champions, right?
36.
36, yeah. Because take the 8
used to be 32.
All money, baby. All money. All money. Go ahead.
That's it I got to say for soccer.
There should be a couple of, when is it, November 2nd? That's next week, right?
Nope, 5th through 6th is the next Champions League.
Okay, can I show you something really quick right now?
Sure.
Okay, here's what happened here. Can you tell me this is what happens when you play Pro Line, okay? I was playing my Pro Line ticket, and I put my ticket in, and I'm only playing $2 because I'm not a big gambler here. But suddenly I played La Liga. The ticket got, instead of football, I played those 2 games. Tell me what you think of that game. Someone that said, play that game, it's a winner.
I mean, this one, you just pick one?
By mistake.
Girona versus Leganes. I don't know enough about those two squads.
That's what I said too. But one of the guys is a soccer guy, and he knew it. He goes, Cruzy, don't touch it. And that's what happens with that stupid pro line because you got so much to pick it out. So I picked my 6-teamers, and when I took the 6-teamers, I make sure the tickets.
You know, OLG has like an app. It's probably easier to do it that way.
Zach, did you hear that? This is app part 2, old man. Get the app on your phone and do it properly. Maybe someday. In any event, there's a lot of gambling on Champions League. I heard it's a high percentage to win if you're doing in this preliminary round.
Interesting.
That's one of the guys that told me he's won some money. He says he bets on the preliminary round because the odds are good. But you have to have a 16 parlay to make any money because the odds are so low. But anyways, go ahead.
And I mean, I saw my bet for Barcelona to win, but we will move this along to the WNBA, where the New York Liberty won their first WNBA title, the only existing original team to basically get their first win. They won in overtime, 67-62 at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Collier fouled out of the game and was really the best player in the series for either side. The coaches calling out the refs has been a huge storyline here with the Minnesota coach having a line that they were robbed of the title. Sabrina Ionescu also struggled in this game. Only 1 of 19 shooting from the field and was 1 of 10 from 3.
She was terrible.
That's insane. I can understand why the Minnesota coach said she was robbed.
Oh, no doubt about it. You know what, though? Here's the weird thing, because we're going to be putting a period on the sentence for the WNBA season. First of all, they drew more eyes to the table than they've ever done. Their finals went to Game 5 overtime. What more could you possibly want? I think the problem was it did get stained because if you watch at the end of the game, how can you call one foul the other way and you don't call it the other? It looked like a Spike Lee call, and all the fans in New York had showed up because once they tied the game and went into overtime, you knew New York was winning. It was one of those, you know that? We know when the team gets there and all of a sudden it's going to overtime, you don't even have to look. You know, no, they're giving this one to the thing. And I felt bad because Collier was she was playing the best with her, I think her name was McBain or McBride, the girl that was playing beside her. But the coach, I think her name is Cheryl Reeves, she's not backing down. Did you see in her press conference? She said, go look at the tape. And I did go back and take a look at it. Now, here's the most interesting thing. If you go to look at the WNBA Finals, you know, you go to a site like where you find the soccer places and they have the little videos and they give you a vignette about 9 minutes of the game. I looked at 2 of them. There is no sign of those fouls in the last 2 minutes make that highlight tape, which tells me that the people in the WNBA are smart enough to not let people go to see what happened in that last. So if you see the press conference and you want to see what happened in the last minute of that game, unless you got it recorded somewhere or unless you can get it out from the WNBA, you cannot see those highlights.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Some sketchy shit went on.
Oh, so what I'm saying to the coach, you know what? Stolen was a harsh word, but when you start putting everything together, we don't want to say there's a man behind the curtain. We don't do that at the house. That happens now, do we? Okay? Now, let's take this whole WNBA and put a bow on it and just say, where are they at the moment? Because this is pretty funny when you think about it. Now, more eyeballs on the screen than they've had in the history of the game, right? They've never had 1 million people watching one game in the finals, but like you said, it's gone up at 25%, and one of them was like 18%. So they have a window where they increased their fan base. They had more eyeballs on the product. They got Angel Reese bitching she doesn't make enough money to live in her freaking $1 million condo. But here's the kicker now. You've had your most successful season ever in the history of WNBA. Would you agree?
Of course.
Okay, so now the owners come out conveniently just as the other thing is done and said, hey, girls, we lost $40 million. We lost $40 million. What? So the owners are saying they lost $40 million. So what did the girls say? We're not. Throw away the CBA. Wait a second here. Now, something's going funny, don't you think, bro?
Yeah.
Wait a second here. You had the greatest season of your life. You got more eyeballs on you ever. I know who Brandon Stewart is. I know who Collier is. We know Asia Wilson. We know Brittany Greer. We know, of course, Caitlin Clark and her crew. You've had more guys watching TV. You got more money from ESPN, and the owners go, hey, girls, we lost $40 million. We lost $40 million. So what is happening here? The girls getting ahead of it and ripping up the old agreement and said we want a new one because they don't believe the owners. Are the owners really losing, and then people are biting their own hands?
I don't know. I don't know. It's weird.
This is typical WNBA. If they can do something to screw, what have they been doing all year?
Sabotaging themselves.
Oh, exactly. So all the good things we've had about this league, all the positiveness, all the great competition, and how many times did they screw it up with stupid press conferences, bitchy-ass nonsense, pointing people at the wrong people, gender identification we don't want to talk about, and now you had your greatest season. You lost $40 million. Something wrong here, bro.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, well, sketchiness at its best?
Yeah. I can see why the players would opt out of the CBA after this shit.
Oh, I know, too. So what is it going to do? Is this going to be good, bad, or ugly?
I think it's going to be ugly.
Me too. So what I'm saying is that these girls have mastered the art of being the Real Housewives of Fenelon Falls. Okay. I think it's going to get that messy, don't you? And it's really, really sad that the trajectory of the NBA, the way that it traveled this year was so good. WNBA, that you have it ending on some very precarious looking refereeing. And now we're talking about throwing away the CBA and they lost $40 million. Wow.
I love that Minnesota coach, though, her line where she's like, refereeing in basketball isn't that hard. Like that got me to laugh.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. And then I like the New York one.
Yeah, she had a good one, too.
She had a good one. Oh, I thought it was fair. And the whole press place laughed. What does it tell you when you ask a coach a question about referee and everybody in the press room starts cracking up? What does that tell you as an observer?
Some sketchy shit.
Yes, it is. In any event, we won't be talking about the NBA till we get the preseason next year, and we won't be doing a preseason show, but we'll definitely let them in the door. You know what I mean? Sure. Okay, girls, good season.
We'll move this on to their male counterparts, the NBA, where Rudy Gobert got a huge 3-year extension with the Minnesota Timberwolves, $110 million over the next 3 years. You think that's the right move?
I don't know. I seen Minnesota play, okay? So let's just say, let's go around the league. What did we see? What did we do? Minnesota looked weird. The Lakers pushed them around on the first game of the season, and then last night they just ran all over the Raptors, so there's no real schedule to say what they're doing. I think they're at 2-1 now. Anyways, it's not there. I don't know. Let's get down the road. I think that Julius Randolph is really playing aggressive. If he can stay away from the injuries, because he fits in a lot better, and then having DiVincenzo throwing more threes for them has opened the floor for Anthony Edwards. So I'm not sure. 2 little games. Let's go back in 10 games and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I think that we have to respect the fact that everybody was making a big spectacle about it, or was good, bad, or was ugly. But we're talking about what's going on in the NBA early in the year. Let's shout out to LeBron and his kid for playing the first time as father and son on the court. I think that should be
this is such a forced event, though.
Everybody's been ragging on it. They're saying, how does Bronny feel? And then they had Ken Griffey, and Ken Griffey.
Oh, you can't even compare it to that. Like, Ken Griffey Jr. was a phenom.
Exactly. Oh, no,
like, LeBron, like Bronny, like he should be back at USC for his sophomore year.
I think that would have been better off to serve him better well. So is this dad that did it?
Oh, this is to stroke LeBron's ego. He's doing wrong by his son. This isn't going to help him in his basketball career.
I don't know. I think he's going back to the G League on Wednesday. So they know what they're doing.
I think he's going to have a rough time there, to be honest.
Oh, no, I think he's lanky enough. I think he's going to be the ability. I think he's going to be like a swing man with a shot because he's coming down. The guy's only 19, though, bro. Look at all the pressure on him. I agree with you. He should have stayed at USC.
How many points did he average last year at USC? Remind me.
Okay, he had the heart attack. They had 4 guards. The rotation was a mess. The team was a disaster. So he got nothing out of that. I think going to the G League and playing in the Lakers system there, that he'll learn something. Now, is he going to be half as good as his dad? No. Is he going to have trouble making the league? We're going to find out now because they're sticking the boys on him.
I'm just saying he would have had a better chance as a league regular if he had gone back to college.
Oh, I agree, too. That's why he's going to the G League. That's why LeBron's getting the criticism, because it looks like a show-me thing. Okay, and LeBron's been a show-me guy since the beginning of time. However, I'm just still saying it's a credible thing that the man's played in the league this long. He didn't have kids when he started.
No.
And now he's got his kid on his dress. Anybody would love to see that. I know you and I have our differences, and I've heard some people.
Well, I would like to see if it was deserved, but this is such a forced media event.
I'm not sure if it's deserved. That's the problem. You can put anybody on the 12-man roster at that time, and you can take them out. You're allowed to put 15 people on the roster now. If the Lakers if the Lakers make a serious run this year after starting an amazing, which nobody expected, 3-0 start, and they get to the trade deadline and they got to do some dancing, I think this was the Bronny thing will get in the way because he's out of contract. So what are you going to do? Void his contract? No, he's already signed. So I think it could hurt them down the way, when they're trying to pick guys up at the trade deadline if they are in contention. Because let's not talk about no Laker this or Laker that. It's 3-0 after 3 games. So what?
Yeah, there's 79 of these games left to go, right?
I agree. Now, the other couple things, any observations you want to make about just starting the season?
Yeah, so there's the NBA investigating, in quotes, Joel Embiid over that he keeps missing games.
Okay, look at my notes here, all right? Here's one of my notes. Listen, Joel Embiid, I got 3 things to say to you, okay? Listen closely. Fuck you, and fuck you. You know why? They're getting more money. The contract's going up. I always thought the NBA would be the one that would come down closer because there's only 15 contracts under that. What are you telling the fans? What are you telling the fans? So I'm going to tell you something, Joel Embiid. When you come to Toronto, I don't know if I'm going to go anyway, but I'm going to make sure I'm not showing up at the Philly game for sure. Everybody should be doing that. Everybody should be looking where it's a back-to-back and just tell the team, we're not buying those tickets. Why can't the fans do that? That's bullshit. Now, we know what's going on. But for a player to just come out and say, I'm playing, at what, $50 million a year?
Yeah.
Ah, come on, Joe. That was bad. It was a bad look.
After playing the Olympics.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to make everybody go crazy, but Kawhi isn't playing either. The difference is Kawhi does have a degenerative knee. We know that. He's struggling to get there. It's a drag because he's the poster boy for everything that's there. But the people that are at the top end looking at his knee say if he gets 3 or 4 more years in on this year, he's lucky. And Embiid's just a big-ass guy that never got in shape for starters, beat up his own body. Get your shit together and play. Now, I respect you got to cut, you got to move. Go to the J.J. Redick School of Basketball. These guys are freaking scientists on court now. I'm going to be saying shit to him soon, too. Bottom line, it's a bad look. And every time I see a double 2 nights in a row, and I don't see the guy playing the second night, I'll be giving him the same 3 things I'm saying to Embiid. You know what I mean?
Speaking of the Clippers, they had their new housewarming spelled by the Phoenix Suns, 116-113. That was quite the matchup there.
Great game. But did you see that arena?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I've never seen nothing like this place ever. You know what they're saying, though, and it's really, really sad? It makes places like Scotiabank Arena already look antique.
Well, Scotiabank's like 25 years old.
In the history of stadiums, we're supposed to get about a 40, 50-year run at your stadium. Not anymore. With the way technology's going, what are you going to do? Why do you think they poured the money into, they poured all that money into Scotiabank to make it look more real? Same thing into the Dome and stuff.
The Dome, yeah.
But this place that Ballmer freaking built, this is like the Jerry's World of Basketball.
Yeah, basically.
When you say that, all the automation and all the computer shit going on, and him in the crowd dancing with the people. Let's rock and let's win this game. How do you not love this guy?
I love Steve Ballmer.
I do. I don't give a shit what you say with him. When you're that rich, you should do whatever you want with your money. The guy's what? Pushing 70 now? Yeah. I think he's older than me. He's a little older than me. So he's pushing 70. He's got more money than money. What are you going to... He built that himself. Mm-hmm. By the way...
Which is something that we keep clamoring for.
What's that?
That the billionaires build the arenas, build the stadiums themselves instead of like begging for public money.
I'll go with it. So he's a poster child in a state that's completely messed up with taxes and progressive and stupidity.
He's not a California guy, though, is he?
No, he's an East Coast guy that said, look, I'm going to do it my way. He took it like he's completely ignored all the nuances that make California the mess that it is. Beautiful arena, though, eh? You see, like, how do you get away from not looking at the scoreboard?
I know. It's a spectacle.
It's one of the things when I first went to Ford Field. Have you ever been to Ford Field?
I've never been to an NFL game.
Oh, gee, go anyway. Well, anyway, I remember the late, great Sam Cafaro, one of our friends that we grew up, unfortunately, passed of a heart attack a couple years ago. The first time we went to Ford Field, years ago when it opened. When did it open? 2008? 2009?
Yeah, about
Give
there.
Or take that, okay? Anyways, you got in there and you're looking up, and Sammy would yell, don't look at the screen, look at the field. We're here live. You can stay at home and watch the goddamn game on your screen. But it was the same within Dallas now, because some of these screens on the side inside the stadium are so goddamn big that you catch yourself looking at the screen and not looking at the field. You know what I mean? So I wonder if that's going to be a bit of a distraction there, which is not.
No.
It's never a distraction. You can see it all. And it holds, what, 20,000?
Yeah, they're about.
Good thing there, yeah. Really, really cool. Too bad Kawhi's not playing, but the team won the game, and they look like they're going to be somewhat competitive.
Yeah, they won their second match.
Yeah.
The Celtics destroyed the Knicks 132-109 in their ring ceremony game and also scored a league record for season opener, 29 three-pointers.
Did I not text you during the game and say, what's up with this? What's up with that?
Of course the Celtics are going to do it the same way this year that they did last year. Come on.
I don't know if that's sustainable, but I will say...
They showed last year was sustainable because we're like, this is going to fall apart. This is going to fall apart.
I'm not saying
Guess what? They won a championship.
They won, but I mean, and they've got the same squad running out there. Porzingis wasn't even in the lineup.
I think the Celtics are going to be fine, unfortunately.
You know what's going to make them fine? You know, I've heard a lot of notes about this, and everybody knows I can't stand the Celtics, but I predicted that in the pre-show that who was my candidate for MVP?
Tatum.
I heard on one of the basketball shows that Tatum's going around and saying, if you don't get enough respect now, I'm going out to get myself an MVP.
Yeah, I read that too.
I just seen that. Like last night, I heard that. I went, whoa, I did not know that pre-game. I just said this guy, especially with Jaylen Brown getting the MVP and he is a sidekick, and Brown not getting picked for the Olympics.
Still insane. Over Nike.
Okay, but so now what are you going to do? You got two guys that's already got a ring on. They got their posse with them. They're going to say, hey, let's double back on this. And this time, let's do it harder. Because if you want to be a great team, you got to win back-to-back.
Sure.
Or you're just a good team that won a championship. Yep. There's like a million of those in the annals of sports. But I think the Celtics are hunting for bear, and it's only 3-0. 3-0 to start the season. They look serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this could be the budding dynasty like we thought at the beginning of the year. Memphis wins in Utah for their opening match, 126-124.
And then they go ahead and they lose to a team that I think that's going to be a sleeper, who lose to a team that I think that's going to suck. But Houston is 1-2, isn't it? Memphis beats Utah, then they go to Houston and they get slapped.
But then they won against Orlando.
At home, and Orlando's a good team. So we got nothing to judge about it. I'm just going to say this. That Memphis team is going to be dangerous. Finally, Jaren Jackson played last night for their home opener, and they won with ease. But remember, a couple years ago, they were the team to talk about, and all those guys are playing on Desmond Bane, Ja. They got Eby, who's looking better than they thought it was. They got that Jalen Williams guy. It's going to be a good ball team. They're going to be very exciting. I think they're going to be one of the teams that make it happen, that make it exciting for you to watch. I hope that there's more matchups on national TV where we'll see the Minnesotas plays the Memphis, because I want to see more like the Jaws going against Shea, Ja going against Ant-Man and stuff like that.
You'll see those, especially like once football's over, like ESPN does, or like ABC does, like the Sunday afternoon games.
Oh, yeah, and they also do the Thursday night games too. And
yeah.
I've noticed in the scheduling that there's a lot of games where there's nondescript teams playing during the football season.
I wonder why.
I just looked at the schedule and I went, oh, that's interesting. Oh, Charlotte's playing Utah or whatever here at this time during the heart of football season. You know what I mean? So everybody knows what they're doing. Everyone's trying to make money. Anyways, it was an interesting splash to start the season. The biggest splash is, like you say, I thought Ballmer with the new arena and LA. It's both an LA thing, because who thought the Kings would start 3-0?
Exactly.
Which brings us, because we are Toronto-centric, we'd be nothing if we did not talk about the state of our beloved Toronto Raptors. What do you think, bro?
They're about how I thought they'd be. Not that good.
I don't know what to say about them, because we haven't had IQ and RJ Barrett in the lineup. But this Sheed kid looks everything that he's advertised. He's a bulldog. Scotty's got to quit overplaying. And I told you, Graydon Dick is going to be better than he was last year.
Sure.
He's looked really, really good. Now, I think it's going to take a matter of time to get the rotation problem get in order. And I feel bad for Darko, because he's already started 3 games and he's having 2 of his starters.
Yeah.
So how do you judge your going? So get back in the lineup, guys, because I'm not saying that the Raptors are going to be world beaters, but I'm not going to say that they're going to be getting their asses kicked every night either. There's a lot of energy on the floor with these kids. You know what I mean?
Grady Dick's been definitely their most surprising, most improved player this year, though. Averaging 16 over. No, I didn't disagree with you.
I thought he would be too.
I believed in him day one, unlike you.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure about them, but the bottom line is the way that he's bulked up, and I seen him in Kansas, he's a natural shooter. Like he's going to be fine. I'm very impressed with the fact that the Raptors have some modicum of defense. What I don't like is on the transition, leaving the guys open for threes. And those guys hit the threes. Like on the way back, they miss a shot. Hustle back on the perimeter defense. Because when they're in there and they're playing like on the 5-on-5 situation, they're seeming to show some good defense. But then, in transition, they've looked. But it's only 3 games, people. Mm-hmm. So I think that's enough about basketball.
Well, hold on, a few more things. So Klay Thompson's actually looked very good in
very
his first
surprising.
2 games.
Very surprising.
I don't get why people were underselling him. Like, they didn't get him to be the Klay Thompson of like 5-10 years ago. They're getting him to be the player he is now. And with all that surrounding talent that he's got in Dallas, like, I didn't think that'd be an issue at all.
I still say it's only a couple of games. Let me give me a 20-game parameter out there. He's probably playing on adrenaline. He's in that I show you mode, and away he's going.
I
and
think
he's
going to be
good.
fine.
Was he averaging 22 in the first couple of games, right?
Yeah.
But then again, if you're not surprising, here's the 2 things that catch you off guard right after. If we listen to our own preview, look what's happened already, and you can't believe it. Golden State's 3-0.
Golden State's 3-0. The Pelicans are 2-0. Lakers are 3-0.
The Pelicans are not. I understand because I mentioned the preview. Pelicans are going to team I'm dealing with. I wrote off Golden State and I said Lakers will be holding on for dear life. Now it's only 3 games.
Well, Golden State's 2-0
or 2-0.
Yeah.
But let's get down the road. I still say Klay Thomas will not. I mean, he's had a great start. Talk to me.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah, Klay Thompson. Talk to me in there. And those have been high-scoring games, so that means he hasn't been playing no D either because he doesn't have any D left in his game. Okay, guy, defensive player of the year possibility, and you know what I mean?
Who's the most surprising winless team so far? Is it Denver?
Oh, easily.
Sacramento's 0-2 as well. That's a bit surprising.
Okay, but they played 2 tough games. They played Memphis and the Lakers, right?
Yes, they did.
Okay, and those are tough games, and they were right in it to the end. So I think it's going to spin around. I think Sacramento's going to be great. DeRozan, I think, is going to be a better add-on for Sacramento than Klay's going to be for Dallas. You heard it here first. Okay, we're going to see. How are we going to judge that?
I mean, a mix of
individual individual stats. Okay.
DeRozan doesn't play defense at all either, so.
Okay, well he was switching pretty good the other night. You know what I mean? So and he looks like a contributor, and he's only DeRozan only 32, 33. He's still not over the hill. But playing for everybody. Remember, he was here when he was 19.
He's a little bit older than that, I think.
He's not 35 yet, is he?
No, but maybe approaching that.
Oh, he's got to be.
He is 35.
Oh, he is 35.
Yeah.
Great shape, looks good. Anyways, we got a lot to offer in the next 2 weeks where we can sift through. Anything else about the NBA that you said you had there? A couple other things?
That's it.
You know what I mean? I like the spectacular openings. I like how everyone touches a little Hollywood. Utah had their Hollywood opening because the NBA does it better with the spectacular because they got the whole court. They got the halftime. They got the fans right on the sidelines.
Yep.
It's the lighting, what they can do with it. I think hockey should look a little bit more to basketball when they're doing some of the openings that we have. However, I don't want to take away from the traditional openings like we have in Montreal and Toronto, which leads us into...
Yes, the NHL, where it was quite the week for the Toronto Maple Leafs. After a big win against Tampa at home, they puke it up in Columbus, puke it up versus St. Louis at home. Oh, and the cherry on top, they puke it up in Boston.
Oh, my God. Okay, let's take a situation here. I'm going to put up the theory that we have an old school coach with a new age players. How long is it going to take this to mesh?
Won't matter. Same players, same shit. I told you, Leafs are a third place team in this division. They're going to lose in the first round again this year.
Wow.
Until they blow up the players, it's going to be the same result. How many times can you bang your head against the wall and expect different results?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. Let's look at this realistically. You've only played how many games? 9 games. You're 4-4-1. Okay, so you had 2 in a row that were rough. Okay, you take away those 2 games.
3 in a row.
Okay, was it 3?
Yeah. Columbus, St. Louis, Boston.
Okay, so you could have won last night. Terrible play by Austin Matthews on overtime. Okay, but I'm saying at the 8-9 game point, I'm not giving up on them, and I don't care about them. But they got goalied twice.
Well, they always get goalied. Another pattern.
Okay, so they got goalie twice. You got a lot of games to go. I don't see anybody else running away with it in this division so far. We're near the 10-game point, and what are we seeing here? Montreal won last night, so suddenly we can peek our head over the hole and say something, stop it. We're like a golf ball on a tee. We're getting ready to get knocked out.
You guys are still last place in the division.
We're still last place, but we're only 6 points behind Florida, and we're all going to be to 10 games. So that tells you the division's a mess. at the moment.
Sure.
The other thing I brought up, which shocked the shit out of me, one team's got a plus differential in the division after playing 10 games now. Everybody's 8 or 9.
Well, 2, Tampa Bay and Ottawa.
Oh, so Tampa Bay must have went over last night, or Ottawa. What Ottawa? +1, +2?
Yep, Ottawa's +1.
Okay, so they went over last night probably in the game, whatever. Bottom line is, that just shows you a lot of parity, and the Leafs have got talent, and I just think they're going around. I just smell there's something.
Yeah, but they got talent, but they're the type of guys that think their shit don't stink. Okay. That's the issue. Okay, especially one guy. I'm not going to say who.
Okay, I'm not going to say who either, all right? Because I don't want to be picking on anybody because I'll look like
we have a good guy, a good veteran, but like he's got the worst contract in the league.
Wow. Just kick the shit out of your team.
11 mil for a third line center. That's what it is.
Okay, well, then you'll be happy next year when he's playing for 4.
I'll be happy next year when he's off the team.
Okay, wow.
If they sign, and he's not going to sign for 4, let's be real.
Okay, I don't know what's going to happen there. That's down the road. Well, let's stay in the moment right now. The Leafs have not been as bad as they've looked. I think the mistake they made is they put in Wall at the wrong time. If I'm going to go with them right now, Stollard has got to play Monday night against Winnipeg. And I bet you Toronto will break their winning streak. Because can't be playing around with these goaltenders right now. They put that Hilda guy in and they put the Wall in. It seemed to be the wrong place at wrong time. Stollard.
So what would you have done? Just played Stolarz against St. Louis and Boston?
I would have played him as much as I possibly can while he's hot and let Wall get it in. When you put him in, you put him on a pressure game, and look what happens.
Yeah, we can't have Wall sitting around too long either.
No, but you're going to have some back-to-back. I would make him earn his spot back because now it's all over the place. You can question who's our number one goalie.
You would have saved Wall for next weekend, basically.
I would have said, I would have
That's a long time for him on the bench.
I would have put him in the Columbus game.
He wasn't free then.
Okay,
he wasn't ready.
That's what I'm saying. So when is this guy ready? He decided he's ready for the St. Louis game?
Well, it's not him deciding. It's the team doctors.
Okay. I'm just saying this. I would have ran with him. If he couldn't have played then, I would have just said.
But he wasn't, so that point's moot.
Mute points, and I wouldn't have let him play. He would have played not until next week.
That's a long time for him to sit on the bench.
Play good in practice. I want the points. I want to stack the points. What's Toronto's position been the last 2 or 3 years? They get off to such shitty starts that at the end when they're rolling going into the playoffs, those 3 or 4 games...
Yeah, but goaltending's not the difference here. It's the players, again, thinking their shit don't stink.
Wall looked pretty flat. Come on, bro. He looked pretty flat.
But the players look like shit too.
So you're not gonna say the way they adjusted the goaltenders had anything to do with the fact?
No.
Oh, okay. Because they were dead even with Boston.
How's the Leafs power play been?
As good as anybody in the league. You look around now.
I don't care about I care about them. How's their power play been?
Terrible.
Thank you.
Okay, but how's their penalty kill been?
Taking too many penalties. They're hurting themselves.
Oh, I think they are too. But
where's the discipline?
Berube's a disciplined coach, isn't he?
Well, he's fucking up there, isn't he?
I don't know.
Where's the discipline then?
I'm telling you. I'm going to phrase it this way. You guys are going to have some issues because your old school coach is going to have to get his new school players. You're going to have to find a level playing field.
I don't think there is a level playing field to be found.
Okay, listen. It's only 8 games. Come on, bro. But
it's the same shit I've been seeing for the past 7 years.
Okay, so what's going to happen if the Leafs string off 6 in a row? Let's see.
It's going to be the same result. 3rd place in the division, losing the first round.
I can't believe that because I don't think Florida is as good as they are, and I think Tampa Bay is not as good as they are. Okay, so they're going to be around. I think it's going to be a dogfight to the end, in my opinion. And I'm just saying what you should be worried about is punting games.
Maybe they could beat Tampa Bay because they seem to have their number lately. Fine.
That's not good enough.
Exactly, that's not good enough. That's my point.
Okay, so what I'm saying is the scary thing about the Leafs is quite simple. They can't be blowing games against Columbus
this is a mid-fucking hockey team. This is not a championship hockey team. Let's not kid ourselves.
Okay, so we're looking around the league right now. We're going to talk about only 10 games. I didn't think we'd get this far already, but you're counting out the Leafs. So what are you saying? That Montreal's a contender?
I'm just saying this is exactly what I called for at the beginning of the season. It's going to happen. And this is what, Keith Pelly, this is his first season here with MLSE. He's upstairs. I hope he's taking notes. Shanahan, sorry. If it's the same results again this year, bye-bye.
You got 9 games in, bro.
And it's the same shit I've been seeing for 7 years.
Okay, so if you had gone 2 games ago, would you be saying this after 2 games ago? Like when they were going into the Columbus game, would you be saying what you're saying now? So you're saying 3 days later you're going to freaking shit on them?
No, but yeah, well, it's the same shit.
Would you have said this going in the Columbus game?
Okay, it was nice that Tampa Bay win. But, again,
discipline.
So I've been saying this at the beginning of the year, too. Discipline and power play.
I will say
issues.
their discipline is an issue because
atrocious.
they're way too many penalties because I think they're being over-aggressive to impress the coach. Okay, let's bring that down a bit. Okay, so the power play's been a little bit mixed up. I don't think that they have the line.
Little bit? Everyone's looking for the perfect shot. Everyone's trying to be too cute.
Oh, way too cute. Okay, so another thing is if you're going to be that way, why don't we put the puck on the net? But we'll discuss that a little bit later. I think
these guys are soft.
I think their back end is a lot better than it was last year. McCabe's playing his job.
Fine.
I was kind of hurt on McCabe to start the season. I don't think he looks out of place. I think they give up the wrong goal at the wrong time, or they give up a bad goal at the wrong time, or one of their forwards makes an atrocious play.
That's
like
my point.
Austin Matthews did last night.
Fine, okay, your defense, it looks pretty good. I still argue they're one man short, I would say.
Well, every team in the league is one man short. I've been watching every team's in that position.
But that's kind of my point. That's not the issue. It's the forward group that's the issue.
I think it'll level itself out in the next 10 games.
In April, May, we're going to be having the same conversation that we have every year.
Okay, then change the line combinations a bit.
It won't matter. It's
Why
the same
not?
play. It's the same 18 guys on the ice.
I don't know. I think there's some line things. I see him out there. The guy that I think there's two guys that I think you're wasting right now. I think he's got to go somewhere else. Nick Robertson, every time he's on the ice, I notice him. No points. Playing with guys that don't finish.
He got a point in that Columbus game, I think.
Finally, but every time I'm on the ice, I notice Nick Robertson. But the guys he with don't finish the play, get him offside. Something's going wrong, so maybe they should.
So what? Putting him on one of the top two lines is going to.
I'm going to take a chance. I want to see if that makes a difference. They're going to score more goals. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I think the bottom line is they got to
have minimal impact.
I'm glad that I'm not a Leaf fan because we've got our own problems as it is. I think you guys are gonna figure it out along the way. Austin Matthews is going to score more goals than he is now. Everyone's screaming, what's his problem? He's made a couple of defensive faux pas when he's been doing that little Arizona skating shit. I will agree with that. Okay, Domi's look great.
He's looked fine.
Domi's look great, but I'm just
saying. That's not what I said. It's the big guys. They're the problem. They skate around. It's the fucking country club. Break that shit up.
Okay, so what are you going to do now? Break up Marner and Matthews, put them on different lines?
No, get rid of them. Get rid of one of them.
Get rid of one of them.
So it lights a fire, and maybe it'll light a fire, and maybe it won't work. I don't know. But you got to fucking try something.
Okay,
you can't just keep banging your head against the wall.
It's too early in the season.
7 years is too early, Cruz?
Only 8 games. Where are you at in the standings?
Come on.
Where are you at in the standings?
It's the little window dressing thing that you used last week. Oh, like with Pittsburgh. Oh, let's adjust this around the side. Let's adjust this around the side. No, the core is rotten.
Okay.
Throw out the apple.
Okay. I just don't think that your competition is that far ahead of you so that you should be in this much of a panic mode. No way.
Florida, but this is not a Stanley Cup team. Come on.
Okay. I don't know who is in there. Who are you going to tell me who's a Stanley Cup team? Florida looks like whatever. Tampa looks like whatever. The Rangers look good, but here's the deal about the Rangers is they're not tough when it comes to playoffs either. New Jersey, who was supposed to be the splash team, has suddenly lost 4 in a row. They looked like they're in a disarray. So they played more games than everybody
even
else.
if the Leafs fluke their way to the finals, they're going to get their asses kicked by whoever wins the West.
We don't know that. You got 80 games a game.
100%.
Okay, I'm going to be the voice of reason on here, and I'm going to still say that I think that the Leafs can win this division. And I predicted.
Oh, they're going to win a weak division.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. You're in there. You're going to get home field advantage, and that takes advantage for you in the playoffs, so you don't end up playing.
How'd that go against Florida a couple years ago?
You guys just didn't have the moxie at the time, and look what happened last year.
How do we have the moxie now?
I don't know. You got better defense. So you're going to write it away.
Come on.
Okay, so how many teams? Let's just do this really quick. We played 10 games. Okay. How many teams in the East are better than the Leafs right now that you would say? Seriously, look at it. Who would you say is better than them?
Who's better than the Leafs?
I'll say there's only one team or 2 teams that I would say is better than the Leafs right now that have showed me that I played hockey. And that's the Rangers, and Carolina. I think they're the 2 best-looking teams because Carolina's lost a couple of overtime losses where they should have won. So they're the only 2 teams. Florida's
Jersey.
all over the board. New Jersey's all over the board. Tampa's all over the board. If Tampa didn't score, Tampa's the exact opposite of Toronto. If they didn't score power play goals, they'd be losing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a big difference between those teams, especially like special teams in the playoffs. Again, huge.
We're far from the playoffs.
Oh God, but it's the same shit, Cruz, every year. I can see the writing on the wall.
Okay.
And I'm tired of fucking lying to myself and you, the audience, and you as well, Cruz, that things are going to be different. Because they're not.
I don't know.
They're not.
They got better goaltending. They got better defense.
It's the same story every year. Oh, we improved here. Again, it's the window dressing nonsense.
You'll have to. We said we will not crucify anybody till American Thanksgiving. Last time I checked, that's 20.
I've seen what I need to see.
There's 30 already.
Yeah.
After this many games.
9 games in.
Okay, so here's what I'm seeing around the league. Let's take a look what's going on really quick. If we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference right now, I'm just saying, in the division, if you're saying it's a weak division, I'm starting to realize it was. I thought the Pacific would be weaker. However, when you have that goal...
I don't think it's going to end up weak. I think Boston and Florida are going to peek their heads up.
I don't know. I thought Boston, I'm going to stick with, I thought that at the fallback, they had that 3-game start the season. Now they're looking like they don't have enough scoring and they can be banged. But their defense is still good. Those two defensemen they brought out, the defenseman and forward, Lindholm and Zadorov, those are still add-ons. I think they're going to be fine. I just think they got to balance their goaltenders because they don't have Ullmark and Swayman going as much as they did last year. But he's not as good. But here's the deal. If Ullmark was a little better in Ottawa, like he was in Boston, maybe Ottawa would be in a better position because Ullmark's let in some freaking beast balls.
I told you that trade was stupid for them. Like, they thought they were getting this guy, but, like, he's not that guy.
He should be a number one.
He's a low-end number one.
He's a tandem guy.
Yeah, he didn't deserve the Vezina a couple years ago. I was on my soapbox here declaring that.
I know, I thought about that, but that was more the Boston defense that got that
exactly.
for him. Okay, now that it's looking that way.
It's not the best defense award. It's the best goalie award.
It's the best
And
goal.
the GM shouldn't be voting for the Vezina, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, who should be voting for him? That's the number one said. Who should be voting for him? The players?
Maybe like goalie coaches or something.
Okay, we can look at it.
Someone who understands goaltending.
Okay, so now we're getting back to my point here. Who is better than Toronto? I'll take Carolina and the Rangers. The only team that I've seen consistently better than all those other.
Tampa Bay's been consistent. So what? They lost the Leafs. That's one game.
Okay, but like I'm saying, their power play is what's saving them. I think they're a little bit more scattered than them. I think that Toronto's played consistently better than Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay's got more breaks. That's just the way the game is.
Tampa Bay doesn't make the wrong mistake at the wrong time.
Oh, they've done it out there. What's their record?
5-3.
Okay, and the Leafs are 4-4-1.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the same shit.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay's got one more point with the game in hand.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. It's too
early.
In
Detroit, I think Detroit's still got a chance to turn around. They're getting the goaltending. They're getting the defense. The scoring, of all things, is the thing they got to figure out.
Okay, but you see, this is another thing. Look at Detroit. They started off the season, then they won 3 or 4 in a row, and now they're back to losing. Buffalo pushed them around yesterday. Buffalo's actually surprising me now. After those first couple times I've seen them in Jersey and what they played at home.
Yeah, they've knocked off 3 in a row.
Yeah, Tage Thompson has scored 7 goals. Owen Power's looking like a great guy. So they got two with Darlene on one set, Owen Power on the other, and what's his goalie with the funny name?
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
How do you say that again? Wow.
But he's not even playing that well. Like, both their goalies have save percentages under 900.
I don't care. They're making the big save at the right time because Buffalo's playing wide open. They got to tighten up their back end. You see the game yesterday, Detroit and Buffalo?
I saw the highlights, yeah.
Well, you should have seen the game, man. It was a track meet. These
guys.
I
was working for Humber yesterday during that time.
That's true, but I mean, yeah, that was a track meet. Like, they're just flying around. So I can't judge either team. Like, I thought when Detroit stumbled to start the season, I went, oh, shit, man, come on, rise up. But now they're back to 500. And what was Buffalo? We were laughing at them, and look at them now.
Well, you were laughing at them.
I was laughing at them for sure. But they're starting to look at like they're...
I think they're going to be a decent team, but I still think they're probably going to end up just short of the playoffs.
It's going to be rough for them to make it. But those guys that we talked about at the beginning of the year, they're going to play better, and they have. Like Tage Thomas got 7 goals. That Tuck guy's been playing good. Who's their second-line center? He's been playing good. The defense is okay. Like, you're led by Owen, Power, and Darlene. That's not a bad start. You know what I mean? I got no depth. But
that's a big issue.
Yeah, and a lot of teams don't have a lot of depth. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But that's a surprising thing to me is the Buffalo situation that we were laughing at them after they went to Prague and they came home and played a couple games. I said, oh, Buffalo, your back end looks terrible. All of a sudden, 3 games later, because it's so short, we've only played 10 games. We'll talk about it after 20.
What do you think of this Tavares amulet stuff? Have you heard about this?
No.
He's like wearing some like I don't know, some amulets supposed to have like some healing powers protecting you from like Wi-Fi signals. Like Russell Brand's endorsing it. And Basketball Canada is endorsing it too, apparently, with like RJ Barrett and like someone else.
You wear an amulet to kill.
Bad vibes.
Okay, so look, you know what?
And it costs, that'll be $300.
Okay, he can afford it. He can afford it. Okay, well,
yeah,
you
but
know
he's
what?
promoting this, though. That's where I have a little bit of it. Like, okay, I get that the power of belief is a very real thing, right?
You believe in anything going to happen.
But do you have to do it through a scam?
Wah, 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 wah. Okay, I'm going to look at it this way. You know what I'm saying? The power of positivity is a great thing. But I didn't really realize this because I'm old school. When I walk with my dog, I carry a speaker. I don't wear headphones a lot, and when we do, we're using wire ones now.
Yeah.
I did not know the significance of Bluetooth, your brain, and radiation. There could be some correlation. That's what they're trying to say to get rid of it. So we don't know. No, the technology hasn't been around long enough. Mm-hmm. However, there seems to be some science that probably makes sense, don't you think?
There's not enough evidence there, though.
So you want to wait till 20 years from now when you're freaking got
so I'm going to
Alzheimer's?
spend $300 because maybe?
I'm just saying I'm going to live the way I do. I don't put a lot of shit on my head. But it's interesting. Now
your speaker's Bluetooth, though.
What's that?
Your speaker's Bluetooth. Doesn't matter if you're wearing it on your head or not.
I know, but it's in my hand, right?
Yeah, but it's connected to... Yeah, it's still using Bluetooth. That's still right there by your body.
Okay, so yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I am. But I said it's around your head because it's in my pocket. Like I keep shit in my pocket.
So it's by your dick.
Well, I'm old now, so I don't get. And the mama's not. She's not excited as she used to be. So I'll get in line with that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be like, we'll talk.
Still, it's on your body. Is my point.
Okay. Anyways, what I understand is that we should be using no Bluetooth. Everything we do is Bluetooth right now.
Well, it's not. It's Wi-Fi too that he's saying, which is like again, everything's Wi-Fi and 5G, and you can't avoid it.
I'm not living long enough to be able to be. I won't be around for the statistics.
Sure.
Okay, you know what I mean. But that amulet stuff just sounds kind of weird.
Goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next? Like a Leaf's gonna get like Russian princed or African princed?
Well, why not? And you know they had for years all that stuff you wear around your wrist and you wear around your ankle, and it's going on for years. You believe what you want to believe,
sure.
Right? I believe in leprechauns riding unicorns. That's where I'm keeping it at. But anyway, let's keep it back to the hockey for a second. We talked about the Eastern. What has happened in the Western Conference that surprised you?
Winnipeg, the last undefeated team.
So will they come to? They're coming to Toronto, right?
They are
on Monday night.
Monday night, 7:30. It's on Amazon. Yeah,
I got Amazon. I didn't even know it. I got Amazon. Do you have Amazon?
I have Amazon.
Yeah, I have Amazon too. We've had it for ages, I guess, because when you buy stuff and you do shit and
sure
all of that. But this is the time. Okay, what happens now? Winnipeg comes into town, hottest team in the league. Come into Toronto on a Monday night.
Oh, they're going to win.
Who?
The Leafs.
Oh, they're going to win now.
Yeah.
After that soliloquy I heard before, I thought at least they're going to get a shit
because whatever, it's going to be like, whatever, they lost 3 games in a row. Okay, I guess we got to try now.
Wow. Mrs. Milani, do you hear your son? He's got no hope for your Toronto Maple Leafs. This could be a
Not this year. Not this
season.
year. Not this year.
Okay, so what are they going to... No, let's stay in the West for a second. I don't want this to become completely the Toronto Maple Leafs show. Okay, so they got Winnipeg in 7-0.
8-0.
8-0. When I checked my preview, I said that Winnipeg would fall off the cliff. Lost a couple of players. They looked...
they didn't really lose anyone, though. Well, I guess Dylan, right?
Yep, and one other guy. That's 2 guys. That Dylan guy and somebody else. I forget. I thought would be more significant than they are. But their developmental program is good because they've had those draft choices that have moved in, that were playing in their AHL and stuff like that have moved in seamlessly, okay? So they're now at 8-0. No matter what you say about them, they've banked enough points that they're already ahead for fighting for a playoff season at the 10-game mark. You know what I mean?
With arguably the best goalie in the league. So let's look at it this way. If you play 10 games and you say, I want 16 points out of every 10 games that you play. Oh, look at this. Winnipeg's already got 16 points out of which you're not going to get. You usually want a smaller block than that. You play 10 games, what do you want? 8 points or something, however it works. 10 games, you probably want 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, that's what I mean on that side. If you double it down, you say potential of 20 points. You want to get 75% of them, so to speak. But Winnipeg's already in the driver's seat, which brings me to the other team that I said ain't going to do shit, which was a great game last night if you watched it. Calgary played Winnipeg last night. And who's the other most surprising team in the NHL? Has to be the Calgary Flames.
They've lost. Okay, so they started off really hot. They won their first, 5 of their first 6. They lost their last 2 now, though. I think we're going to start to see the fallback.
Who have they played in the last 2? They played the Jets, and I think they lost to Vegas.
No, they play Vegas on Monday. They lost to the Jets and the Hurricanes.
Oh, and what was I just saying about the Hurricanes? One of the better teams in the league. So that's 2 of the better teams in the league.
But, I mean, you look at the teams that they beat early on. It was like Vancouver kind of had a little bit of a struggle to the beginning of the season. They beat Philly. They beat Edmonton, who was struggling. They beat Chicago. Then they beat Pittsburgh in a shootout.
Well, then they held their own. You only like what you're saying. You beat who's in front of you.
I get that. But
I think they're going to come back to earth, too.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be out there because, it's so too early in the year and we're talking about all this. Like, I'm pumping Jersey's tires like crazy. Look, wait till this team gets going. Bang. Jack Hughes disappears. They lose 4 in a row.
I knew they wouldn't win the division. I think you guys I couldn't believe how much people were underselling New York coming into this year.
I thought New York would be softer, but, down the road we're going to see it because they still play
Maybe that's in the playoffs. But.
Yeah, but they're a dipsy-doodle team. You seen them play last week against Toronto. They had no reason for winning that game. What's his name in that? I never say his name right. Shesterkin played amazing. Come on. They were all over him. They were getting knocked around.
Well, you have arguably the best goalie in the league. So
okay, so that's going to take you a long way. So I'm going to say that the Rangers are for real. The way that they're structured, the way they're lined up, their top 4 defensemen really are what makes it, because then they've got enough guys in the forward. They're
and
pretty
Philip Hedl coming back this year. That's a huge one that no one was talking about.
There you go. It's going to be there. So I think they're there. But let's get back to the West and just they're saying. Now,
when San Jose going to finally get a win?
Oh, my God. They're out of it anyway. We figured they would. But 3 of the teams that I've dumped on, and we started with the 2 of them. I dumped on Winnipeg. I dumped on Calgary. And this time last year, I was loving them, and I dumped on them, and they're looking a lot better than I thought as the Los Angeles Kings. All their young guys look like they're mature, and the Byfield guy, who else?
I think we can say we were wrong about that.
Oh, yeah, like I thought they were going to fall back. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. Now, it's too far to go. It's only 10 games, but because they play West Coast and I get to see a lot of late games at night, I'm insanely impressed with LA. And you know what I'm impressed with? It's always your defense. Remember we're talking
about they do have a negative goal differential.
That's one of the problems that they have there. That's what I'm saying. But otherwise, they're playing pretty solid. The goaltending's been holding up, and that was supposed to be one of their issues. Mm-hmm. They lost Doughty. And I thought, where are you going to get that? And you know what the Doughty thing is we got to talk about because we didn't.
Well, you can argue goaltending is still an issue. Both are like Riddick has an 874 and Kemper 896.
But they're they're like the defense in the NHL. Bend but don't break. Like they win those games where it's 3-3 and they'll score 2 in the third period and get away. So
but you need a save.
Well, they're eventually going to get it. You know what I think? Anyways, I don't know what they're going to be in 10 games from now. It's just that 3 teams that I just kicked and said, I don't think so. They are doing way better than expected. However, the 2 teams that I did say that I thought were going to be much better, Dallas and Minnesota are playing really good. What's his name is league in scoring? One of my favorite guys, Kaprizov. Mm-hmm. He's the number 1 scorer in the league right now, isn't he?
I believe so.
And their goaltender has been solid.
Well, actually, he's number 2, actually. Mark Stone is actually leading the league in points, your boy.
I hate to see that. You know what I mean? Like, and all Vegas said, but he's playing on a line with Eichel, and Eichel's looking like one of the best players in the league.
Eichel's number 3 in scoring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Eichel's looked great this year. That no look pass the other night to score the goal just looked absolutely brilliant. But I think that Vegas is going to be back because they had a bit of a Stanley Cup hangover. And you know, a team wins, team loses, comes right back. I think that Vegas is going to be solid there. I think Minnesota's going to be there. Like what I looked at them before the season, I said, okay. And Dallas, that lineup. I love that lineup with old and new. Look who's on the top scoring. Duchesne's in there. Seguin's in there. Robertson's in there. They're a good team. And they've got they've got some goaltending too. And big defensemen that are moving. So I think that we're going to see in 10 games from now, everything's going to separate itself a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And I think in the East, it's going to stay tight. But in the West, I think it's going to, another 10 games are going to spread. Because Anaheim, Chicago, and Anaheim, Chicago, and San Jose, they're all terrible teams. I've seen them all play. They're going to beat you one night in a pond hockey game, but they're just not solid teams. Mm-hmm. You look at them, you see the structure. Nobody plays defense. If it gets wide open, great. Seattle's a team I haven't figured out. Are they for real? What are they doing? Win one, lose one. But
they lost 3 in a row now.
That's right. But they play great. Every time I see them play, they're exciting games. Look at the scores. They're not getting killed. Mm-hmm. They're playing well, so we're going to have to wait and see.
I think they figure it out.
Think they make the playoffs still?
Yeah.
I can't wait till American Thanksgiving. We'll have a lot more to talk about it then, because it's too much, like from 1 week, from this week to last week, and just those 3 or 4 games. It's going to be like that in basketball until we get to like a 20-game mark or something. I mean, a 10th is 1/8 is what? That's 1/8 of a season or whatever they call it, right? It should be some kind of a sample size. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's enough, especially for the Eastern Conference.
No. What do you think of the rumors that Martin St. Louis is going to resign? Have you seen these?
I've been hearing a lot of shit about Montreal in the coaching and the who's coaching the defense. He's really not doing a good job because he's not a defense guy. He's more of a specialist. And Montreal's power play has been a little bit better. The forwards are playing a little bit better, but the back end's not there. He doesn't know what to do with our goaltending. I don't think Primo's the answer. So who do we bring in?
Like as a replacement?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're not prepared for this. This is supposed to be the Martin St. Louis show for a while. So I'm telling everybody to shut up for this reason too. Suddenly we're 3-4-1 and we're only 6 points behind first place in the division. So why should we panic? Because I seen us play. But that was a solid win last night. That was the most disciplined game that we played all year, in my opinion. Now let's go back to game 1 of the season against Toronto. Did we look disciplined against you guys? We had a goalie that stood on his head.
I didn't watch that game in full, so.
I watched it. The only reason we were there is because of Monty. Monty saved our asses, okay? Let's tell the truth. So we haven't played very disciplined in our own zone, and hence the reason that we've done it. We were lazy against the Kings. We looked terrible against them. So I don't know. Like, why would he resign? Is he in over his head?
I don't know. I think those rumors are a little bit extreme, to be honest. But, I mean, the fact that those rumors are out there, I think, says more than anything.
But what thread did you read it on?
I don't remember. It's the thing that comes up on my phone through, like, Google.
Like the athletic stuff? Like something like a paper like that? One of those guys?
No, it wasn't anything like that.
See, that's why I'm just saying who generates this stuff, because I don't always trust it with Mr. AI out there. Like, if I don't hear the guys on network talking about it, or if I don't hear Elliot Freeman saying his 2 cents, or who's the guy that comes on noon? Not Jeff Merrick. The guy that comes on noon on Sportsnet that he's got a show. He's older.
I don't know now.
He seems to be connected. Anyways, someone in the city would say something credible. The only time I'm hearing about it is like on bad Montreal threads that I don't trust.
Well, that tells me that the fans are getting...
I think it's totally fan-generated. Everyone's saying he doesn't know what he's doing. So I think it's totally fan-generated because I don't hear anybody that's...
my just thing is that can snowball from there, though, so...
Especially with Montreal and the fans and the situation. But he's a Frenchman. What more do they want in Quebec? Stop it.
Well, okay, you can't just have someone just because he's a Frenchman. Like, it's about results.
Okay, so we're a long ways away. Everyone said that Montreal was going nowhere. We're in a developmental stage.
You didn't say that.
I say we're still going to make a shot. I still think we're going to compete. I'm a little scared of what I've saw in the first 8 games. But to dump St. Louis is just like, what are we going to do, start over again? I think Hughes is too solid for that. He's developmental. I think St. Louis is going to be one of those coaches that gets us so far, and then we bring the guy in that take us over the edge when the time comes, unless he's getting maximum results, which doesn't seem to be.
Well, what if it's another bottom 5 season?
Well, the way it's looking right now, what do? We fire him?
I'm just saying.
I have no idea.
How much patience is there in Habland?
I don't know. Not very much. This is Montreal we're talking about, so shit's going to hit the fan. But let's just talk about it this way. Here's what drives me nuts. What's the big story in Montreal right now, player-wise? What's the big story?
Probably like Caulfield.
Oh, because he's got 7 goals? No, he's last week's newspaper. It's Lane Hudson. Every time I turn on the TV, it's this guy. Have you seen him play defense, by the way? No, he's a left winger. He hasn't played defense. And now, is he great with it? Has he got great vision on the ice? Is he a brilliant skater? Can he move the puck around? Good. He's a defenseman. Is he going to move anyone out from in front of the net?
No.
Is he going to give us some pizzas around the net when things get in trouble so the red light goes on behind Monty? Yes. So that's what drives me nuts about the Habs. And look at Lane Houston.
Lane Hudson.
When he plays deep, no, I don't want to knock the guy because he's a good hockey player. Doesn't play any D. So where's the development there? Then you're going to say that's that Marty St. Louis' fault? I think the best thing, as I heard, is they should pull in an old Larry Robinson type guy that's just a strictly like they had back in the day. Nobody ever heard about him.
Okay, but we talk about like teams not having D to begin with. So where are they going to find this guy?
No, I'm saying someone come in to coach the D.
Oh, okay.
Okay, like years they had Jacques Laperriere. I don't know if you know who he was, but when I was a kid, this guy was the stay-at-home defenseman. He was the guy. When Montreal traded players, they traded coaches and all that shit. Laperriere always stayed part of the organization because he taught defensive metrics. He's not around anymore. He's like 70. He's out sitting out to pasture, stuff like that. We need that guy.
Okay, so this is a next year fix then.
2-year fix? I don't know. I'm getting worried about it. But anyway, let's stay in the West right now really quick before we go on. I think that the West has surprised me more than the East because East is just jammed up and we don't know what they're doing. I'm saying that the surprise is coming from those teams like the Kings, Calgary, and Winnipeg is really going to make it feisty down the road for all the teams that are supposed to be there like Edmonton, Vancouver, Vegas, etc. I'm not sold on Vancouver yet.
I think they'll be fine.
They ripe the shit. What's Elias Peterson doing?
He has little spurts like this. I think he's going to pick it up in the regular season.
This is now a stretch that's starting to look like a sample size, bigger sample size when you get to last season and the playoffs. Where's he been?
We'll
see. Lot of money to pay for that guy to be doing what he's been doing. But they have righted the ship, and I think Quinn Hughes is one of the best-looking hockey players I've seen this year again. I mean, no, is that his name?
Yeah, Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes, yeah, the guy on Vancouver?
Yeah, the captain.
He's looking great. Makar's blowing my mind because he's leading the league in scoring. What's his
not
plus
anymore,
minus?
but...
Okay, he was, but he was there. Did you see his plus minus?
Let's see what it is now.
He just got over, yeah, because he's going forward. And he doesn't have that Taves guy all around right now. He's coming back, so he has no one covering for him. But Colorado seemed to right their ship, and I'm still saying they're going to be there at the end.
Yeah, they won their last 4. After starting 0-4.
Yeah, they won that score, but look at the scores of those games. They ain't playing D.
No. a lot like last year.
So do you still think that they're going to suck?
I'm still saying that they're not going to be like top 2 in that division. I still think they're third place in the Central.
I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the conference finals, and it's too early to talk about if they got too much talent.
Too many questions on that team still for me to say
Every team's got too many questions.
But these were ones that I said in the beginning of the season.
I wonder if there's anybody in Colorado talking about their team the way you're talking about your team.
Probably not.
Why not? They started 0-4. They had more of a reason to be screaming, don't you think?
Yeah, but they've won a Stanley Cup in recent years.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You got that covered. You should have been a lawyer. You should have been a lawyer. And
Nashville's starting to right the ship after a horrible start.
Yes. Yeah. They got to come around too. But I just think it's because their front end, they haven't figured out who plays with who. And everybody's doing the same thing.
And now it looks like they're starting to figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Well, they will. There's not that much talent on the team. Come on. You know what I mean? And everybody, sometimes when that happens, everybody defers to the other guy because they don't want to look like they're trying to take all the juice. So Stamkos is deferring to Marchessault sometimes. He's deferring to Stamkos.
Sure.
Just shoot the goddamn puck. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. And Yossi's Yossi. And what's his name? And then that is good too. So they're going to be fine in the long run. And they're a big team, by the way. Did you see them play? They're a big bunch of boys. So... anyways, we're just talking, this is content for us to keep moving the NHL along because I think in the next 10 games, we're going to really start looking at separating the men from the boys. So I'm very comfortable with Montreal being 6 points out of first place in their division right now because I'm scared to figure out where they're going to be in 10 games from now. You know what I'm saying?
A few other notes around the league. Luke Schenn and Tyler Myers both played their 1,000th games this week.
Huge.
Tyler Myers last night, in fact.
Yes, huge.
Shea Theodore got a 7-year extension worth just under 7.5 per. I think that's good investment for Vegas.
Especially at his age, right? Because he's 27, 28?
Yeah.
It's a good year, good contract. I think it's both sides are going to win in this contract.
Yeah, considering they stole him too from Anaheim.
Oh,
insane.
No kidding.
And then Sergei Bobrovsky became the fastest goalie to 400 wins, doing it in his 707th game.
In the history of the league.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I didn't realize he had that many wins. Like, we're talking Brodeur, Roy, Jacques Plante, you name him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Good for
First
Bob.
ballot Hall of Famer?
Probably.
Okay.
Four Nations face-off jerseys got revealed. I really like the Team Canada one. It's got old school looking. You don't like it?
I'm okay. You know what I all think they look like? And you know I love old school shit, right? I hate to say it. I think it looks too old school for me.
Oh, come on.
It looks like the 30s or something. It looks a little too...
I love the throwback look for the Canada one. I think I'm going to buy one.
I think they're out of all of them, they're all trying to look throwback.
Yeah.
You know, they all got a hint of throwback to them. The Finland one's got that. Their color scheme's kind of weird. Is that because they got that blue, like, right? Isn't it that blue? Look at the Finland one.
Let me take a look.
Yeah, it's got that odd color thing. But that's their country colors, so it's going to be fine. I just think that I was very interested that everybody had a more throwback look than a more, what would you call it, futuristic uniforms that we're getting every day. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was called, didn't you think? Because I thought when you told me to check the uniforms and check them out, they're a bit old school. I thought we were going to see, like, I don't know, Buck Rogers with some new school shit on it. But I don't mind them. Well, really
Finland,
don't.
they have a little bit of the light blue there, which I kind of like.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
I just think that everyone tried to have a throwback look, which is cool. And I'll get used to them, like a Canadian jersey. I just think it looks like two Toronto Maple Leafs from 1938 and still laps.
Well, it's actually like close to the Maple Leaf from the first ever time that Canada sent a hockey team to the Olympics. That's what that one reminds me of.
That's true, too. Yeah, kind of, right? Just a little bit more different motif.
Like it was the yellow jerseys, like the leaf on that one. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. No, I'll get used to it. And the pants are going to be black, right?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll get used to it. There'll be a lot of talk about the Four Nations coming up. As we mentioned off the show, I think next week we should go out of our way at the 20-game point to look at all 6 players that have announced for all 6 teams, because the teams have to be announced by when?
It's like December 7th or something.
I thought it was November 19th.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe you're right. But either way, it's coming up.
So I think I think on the next show we should look at it. The 6 players that are on all 6 teams and are all 6, do they automatically got to be on the team?
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's jumping the gun.
Whatever. It is what it is.
Okay, let's take, for example, okay, nobody's talking about him, okay? Let's just really quick before we move on. That Carey kid that plays on Calgary.
Okay.
Got drafted pretty high. Had to go back down, learning his game. Scored pretty good last year. He was an okay player. He looks like he's one of those guys that's coming into his own. I'm putting it this way. Like, you see Nylander this year, then you see Nylander this year.
You think he's going to be on Team Canada this year?
I'm saying that there's a couple of these kids that are playing that well, and you're going to just ignore them because they're kids. I don't buy into that, because it's always worked for Canada when you take your best players. Remember when we took Doughty the first time to the Olympics, and everybody said, oh.
Yeah, but Doughty's a special case, don't you think?
He's an amazing player, but a couple of these kids that are going to be around that might be good. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Is Bedard making the team?
I think so.
We're going to have to wait and see. You know what I mean? Like, because my bitch is, you know what my bitch is. When I'm looking, like, how did you get on the team? What have you done for me lately? That's my take on the matter.
Well, we don't even have the roster, so like that's
we got the 6 mofos that are on there, and I'm already starting to question.
You don't even know who they are, so why are you getting pissed off about it?
The 6 guys they announced on Team Canada?
Oh, okay,
That we should talk about those 6 and how they still deserve to be there when we're talking they announce the team. Are they just going to shuffle them in because of their reputation? I'm not buying into that shit. I want the best guys that are playing in the league today, right now. Not a guy that freaking slew-footed someone to win a Stanley Cup 8 years ago.
Marchand is on the team after he said he wouldn't be there.
Yeah, okay. And like, come on. Do you think he's played enough to deserve it? Now, look, name the other 6 guys. Name the other 6
Crosby, McKinnon, Makar, McDavid, Point.
All got to make it.
Yeah, obviously.
Those guys are there. But doesn't Marchand seem funny when you name those 5 guys?
Well, you figure he's going to be part of the leadership group.
Okay, the leadership group. Stop it. Okay, let's just put it this way. Let's just throw it out there. Would you rather have Marner or Marchand right now? Marner's not playing his greatest hockey, but right now, I've seen both of them play. You'd rather have Marchand than Marner right now if they had to pick between those two to go on the team? Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, we're going to discuss that next week. A look around at all the teams. I'm going to put it before you now. We're going to discuss because we're getting very close to picking the whole team. And I'm going to bring back some of the guys that I think that should be making this team because I'm looking a little closer. Because remember you asked me before to check it out? And I thought, well, this is hard to do because there's guys I can see from last year that are developing. And then you can see guys that are going to get further. But now that we're going to be getting closer to 20 games, there's some guys that have piqued my interest. You know, and I don't even think they were on the radar.
Well, we'll talk, we have plenty of time to talk about that later. Okay. So with our Saturday picks, last weekend, I beat you. I was 8 for 13. You were 4 for 13.
Oh, brutal.
And then last night, we actually tied. We were both 9 for 14.
That's much better. You got to be over 500. and you know what? I will say that I was a dick about picking a couple of teams. Pittsburgh, A-list, being a dick. And what was the other game that I picked just on purpose?
You picked the Leafs to win in Boston. I thought that was suspicious.
But you took St. Louis to win in Montreal.
Yeah, I did.
And I said Saturday night special. Did Seattle win last night?
No, they lost to Carolina.
Yeah, so I took Carolina.
You picked the Islanders to beat Florida.
And it went to overtime.
No, it didn't. Florida beat them 6-3.
Which one went to overtime that we picked? You got it right and I got it wrong. I think there's one overtime game.
Let me check.
I took Buffalo.
No, the Islanders had a 3-0 lead and blew it.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. You took the Red Wings. I took the Sabres.
Yeah. So Nashville beat Columbus in overtime, but we both picked them.
Yeah.
And then Boston beat Toronto in overtime, and I picked Boston.
That could have went either way that way.
Yeah, but the Leafs, so.
I am so happy to hear that my accomplice has such a positive attitude about a team that he loves probably more than any other team in sports. This should be an interesting season, people. We'll get to some real vitriol about his team. I'm trying to pump the tires on my team, trying. You're dragging your dick through the dirt. Damn.
I've seen the same shit for the last 7 years. I'm tired of it.
Damn.
I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of lying to you, the audience.
Okay.
Let's be objective here.
Okay.
Isn't that our jobs?
Okay. Well, they're going to be that way. I just look at it a little bit different than you, and I'm going to say we're going to refresh this. We're going to have plenty of time.
It's already 12:30. We haven't even got to football or baseball yet.
Here we go. Let's get to football.
Yeah. So want to get with our power rankings?
Yes, we're going to do that right now. Where's my power ranking?
I guess I'll start. I'm ready.
Okay.
Number 5, I got the Buffalo Bills. Number 4, they dropped 2 in a row, but I'm still going to give them a shot here in the top 5, the Minnesota Vikings.
Weak.
No bias there, right?
Weak.
Number 3, I got your Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Number 2, I got the Baltimore Ravens. And number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, the top 3 we knew were going to stay there, okay? First of all, Minnesota lost 2 in a row. As soon as you lose 2 in a row, you leave my power rankings, okay?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
2 in a row. 2 in a row. That's it. You got bitch slapped on Thursday night by a team that's not making it, but we're going to get to that in a second. So
I don't know. They're in a weak division, so they might make it.
No, I'm saying the Rams. That's like they beat a team in a weak division. They got beat by a team from weak division.
Oh, yeah.
NFC North is the best division of football, and I predict that they'll be that toughest division. So your top 3 are the same. I got Kansas City, I got the Ravens, I got the Lions. Number 4, I got the Washington Commanders.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They lost to Baltimore, but I still think they're there. They're going to have the defense. I think that their schedule is favored. They're going to be there. My toughest pick was I had to flip a coin because I think Buffalo stumbled their toes a little bit much for me to give them the 5th just yet, but I think it's going to go back.
I had a hard time picking my number 5.
I had a very hard time picking my number 5 because I had to move Minnesota. Minnesota had a one against the Rams on Thursday night. I would have continued to put them there, but they got the curse of the Lions. You play the Lions one week, you lose the next. Check the stats. That's there. That's the craziest stat I've heard in years. So my number 5 team, and I think they're going to move up later because there was 3 teams that I came down to. Number 5 is the Houston Texans. The only reason I took them is because I wanted to put Green Bay in there. But Green Bay lost to Minnesota, who lost, and Green Bay, and Texas beat they beat Green Bay. Like, there's a weird thing where everybody's beating everybody, but where did you play at home? That weird trifecta. So I'm saying that Houston's my number 5 with Green Bay. I came so close to wanting Green Bay in there, but I just said I couldn't do it.
All right.
So that's my top 5. Kansas City, Ravens, Lions, Commanders, and the Houston Texans.
So the big news this week was DeAndre Hopkins going to the Chiefs for a 5th-round pick that can upgrade to a 4th. I guess that's based on playoff implications.
They go to the Super Bowl, it automatically moves up. Okay, so what do you think about that trade?
It's Kansas City answering all those other teams in their conference that made moves.
I'm saying it's more significant than Devontae Adams going there or Amari Cooper going to Buffalo due to the fact that the biggest problem that Kansas City's had this year is opening up their field because everybody got hurt. I'm going to say this. The biggest person that should be happy in Kansas City is not Patrick Mahomes. It should be Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
He should be the guy that's happy because you're going to be on D-Hop because D-Hop's going, I heard people say this guy's washed up.
He's just been playing with crappy quarterbacks.
That's what I'm saying. I was trying to tell people they were showing the Tennessee game where they'd show down the field and they'd show D-Hop
He's wide open.
And then they having a butt, waiting for the guy, and Will Levis throwing the ball behind himself. Or Mason Plumlee looking the wrong way. You know what I mean? No, Mason Rudolph. But in any event, I think that this just makes Kansas City scary. It's going to be better for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? I told him he's going to have a step back, but you are right. I have been watching the film, and he has been blocking a little bit more this year. I'm actually quite surprised. He's been throwing no Gronk yet, but he has thrown some blocks in there, and I think it's going to open up for them because that Kansas City defense shouldn't be underrated anymore. They're good. They're just a great defense. You know what I'm saying? So this trade for Kansas City, I was doubting them as a three-peat, because you can only jump the fence so many times, eventually you're going to trip over it. But now that they got D-Hop, it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, it's mega.
Yes, it is.
As we like to say
and
here.
that's one of my favorite players in the NFL. I think I've reiterated that on a number of occasions.
He just, I guess until now, he's just played for some crappy teams.
He was great when he played. He made Deshaun look good in Houston. He made Kyler Murray look good in Arizona. He couldn't make Will Levis look good in Tennessee. We'll be back, though. I think he'll be back. They just put him back to learn. Buddy, go learn, because he's got the tools. He just doesn't have, like, some of the mental part of the game or whatever, what have you. What stood out for you last weekend?
The Deshaun Watson injury and how fucking awful the Browns fans are.
Ooh, that was ruthless. That was ruthless. But I did tell you my Scott Mitchell story from many years ago at the Dome, so I'm going to jump away from that. I just think it's a frustration of the fans and a 1-5 Cleveland team. You brought a guy in for more money than you've ever given anybody in the history of football, and this is what you get from him. And he was showing flashes. I'm not
enough, but
no, not enough, definitely. But for a man to get hurt, leave that alone. You know what I mean? That gets personal. However, when we heard the players coming to the microphone to protect him, I don't think you agreed with everybody that the players were saying, did you?
I mean, defending your teammate is fine, but like some of the language that we heard was a little ridiculous. Garrett Wilson calling him a model citizen, I thought was very rich, especially considering the circumstances that led to him being outed with the Texans. But I don't have a problem with these guys standing up for their teammate. I mean, that's what they should be doing.
I just think it's really sad that all the things that the guy's brought onto himself, most of it's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
And then you have an injury of this nature, which we know is gruesome, and then people are going to cheer. There's no reason for to cheer like that. No matter how much you hate somebody, you don't want anyone to get hurt. That's his Achilles now. The rumor is this his last game in Cleveland?
Oh, it has to be now after that. You can't bring him back after the crowd treat him like that.
Why not?
No, this is a human being we're talking about here.
Okay, so he comes back in and his Achilles is 100% and he plays.
And he's the same garbage quarterback.
Well, what if he's not?
What evidence is there to say that?
Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold.
Okay, but Baker Mayfield went to L.A. He went under Sean McVay to get better.
Okay.
Is Sean McVay going to magically show up in Cleveland? No.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
No, it's going to be the same old Deshaun.
So it's a $72 million salary cap against your team for the next 2 years. This is 25 and 26 now.
Yep.
This is that's huge. Now, Denver's jumped the fence really well.
Yes, sir.
Because they've only got one more year left with this Deshaun. Is next year's it or is this it? It was last year and this year they had to bite. No, it's this year and next year they have to bite on the contract, right?
Wait, Denver?
Yeah, because they got rid of Russell Wilson. And
for the Russell Wilson contract.
That's the template, and that's not as big. That's only about a $40
No,
million.
Russell Wilson wasn't fully guaranteed.
No, and it was only $40 million against the cap for 2 years, which was a very strategic move made by Sean Payton and the crew because they've got Bo Nix and he's getting paid next to nothing. So it very smart on the Denver organization to wield their way through. And not only that, Denver's in a position where they can say they're fighting for a playoff.
Absolutely, against all odds. I mean, they're 4-3 now.
It's unbelievable. So what stood out for last week? Well, that's one of the reasons I couldn't get the power rankings in now, is because everything's going to go crazy, okay? In my opinion. The biggest thing last week, the big wins were the Lions going into Minnesota and beating them after we nearly blew the game, with Montgomery having his first turnover of the year at a bad time. But we had enough moxie to go back. You
guys should have won by more.
Oh, really? Of course we should have, but our defense is suspect. I keep telling everybody we got some defensive issues. The other big win I liked the Chiefs just going in there and, okay, can you beat San Fran? San Fran's in trouble with their injuries. Sure. They got to show something.
Yeah, they might not make the playoffs this year.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see there, because it's going to get interesting. And then Atlanta, who I'm going to be picking again this week. Are these guys frauds or what?
I can't believe that Seattle went in there and destroyed them like that.
I can't either. So now what are we going to do this week? On one pool, I took Tampa. The other one, I took Atlanta. I said, man, I'm on heroin. What's going on here? That was an atrocious. It was an atrocious loss. No, because I forgot when I put in my parlay, I forgot that Tampa Bay was missing all those guys. And I still think
Atlanta is so, cursed, though.
Are they frauds?
Yeah.
Come on, how did you, and there's Seattle in a tailspin, going across country to an Eastern time zone, to a team that says, okay, come into our Mercedes-Benz building, we're going to go up and lay an egg like that? Come on.
Yeah, it's weak.
It was so bad. I was so disappointed, because you all want to try to don't we all want to try to like Kirk Cousins?
Sure. And then I was wrong about the Steelers and Russell Wilson, obviously, after that. I mean, the first half, it looked like I may have been right, but in the second half, Russell Wilson took over.
Yes, he did. He made a few passes, and I thought that the Jets secondary got screwed up, so I'm not running to the bank.
Oh, ever since they fired Saleh, they've been so much worse on defense.
Something's gone wrong here, so I can't say that, okay, these guys have magically saved the day or anything like that. However, I'm very disappointed, hugely disappointed in the whole situation in Atlanta. I just went, you guys, this was your chance to make a move. And what did you do?
Same garbage with that team.
Okay, so now I'm going to make my first very huge statement of the year, okay? Let's go see what's going on last weekend before we make our picks. And we're at the 8th game mark, so we're just almost over half the season now, because you get there every week 9.
Yep.
So it means 8 or 9 teams, okay? So, first of all, we know the NFC North is the best division in football. Right?
Yep.
NFC North. Okay, so now, before we go there, I'm of the belief, as we speak right now, everybody that's leading the division in the AFC is going to win their division right now. Who's ever leading in those divisions. So
agreed.
I'm saying Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, and Kansas City. Can we say that those 4 teams are going to win their division? There's a lot of games to go, but I don't see anybody challenging them. Tua's not playing this week. They're 2-4. Who's going to catch what? Is he playing?
He is playing.
Okay, so anyway, they better win today, because they're 2-4, so they're already 3 games in the win column to Buffalo. Houston's infinitely better than anybody in their division, and I think they're going to skate away with it, even though it's an interesting game today that Jacksonville has to win, which I don't think they will. Baltimore and Pittsburgh are 5-2. They both got to play each other 2 times. I think that's going to work its way out. I think the sneaky part is Cincinnati's going to win today and come up the back door as a wild card, but I can't see them winning the division. But look, they're only 2 games in the loss column. But I still say Baltimore's going to win that division. Don't you agree?
100%. Yeah.
Okay, we got Houston. And then we go out west. We got Kansas City. End of story.
6-0, only undefeated team.
Undefeated. But now, when we go to the National Football Conference, I'm not sure of any team that's leading that division right now is going to win it. Now, everybody's on the bandwagon for my Detroit Lions. Let's wait a second.
They're the only ones I would say is kind of a slam dunk.
Okay, well, let's look at it. We haven't played any division. We got to play Green Bay 2 times. We got to play Chicago 2 times. We got to play Detroit. We got to play Minnesota 1 more time.
In Detroit, though.
In Detroit, so I'll take the advantage there. But we got to play Green Bay. We've not been good with them. Chicago has been infinitely better than anyone has realized, especially when it comes from a defensive point of view. You know what I mean? And Williams is playing a little bit better. They've got some going. So I'm just saying the NFC North, everyone's yelling, my Detroit Lions are going straight to the Super Bowl. Stop it, people. Too many games to play. Too many tough division games. That division can't be called. NFC East, Washington. Do you think they're going to win that division? That is the question. With Philadelphia on it, right behind them at 4-2. So I'm not going to guarantee that Washington's, because they're too young, too many mistakes could be made. Philadelphia come up, so I can't say that division's going to be won. Now, what was the division we were just talking about? The NFC South. Who's going to win that? Anybody could win that, okay?
Sure.
That's what I can't say. Like the other divisions, you go to AFC, guaranteed. Those 4 divisions, I'm going to say it. Here I can't say it. Now let's get even crazier. As of a week ago, the Rams were getting kicked into the dirt. Get them out of here. They were what? 1-4. Since our last show, they won their last 2 games. They're 3-4. Their schedule is favorable. Oh, they got the same record as Arizona. Oh, they got the same record as San Francisco. Oh, they've got Seattle in front of them, and they've already beaten Seattle. That division's up in the air. So that's what I'm saying. This rest of the year in the NFC is going to be a dog fight. It's just going to be nuts. Like, can you believe it when you look at the standings? Like the Rams, and I picked the Rams to make the playoffs. Remember last show, I'm going, I don't know about those Rams. 1-4, looking pretty rough. And all of a sudden they win 2 in a row. And who do they get next week? They got another winnable game. I do believe. Who do they play? The Rams. Rams at Seattle. And they've already beaten them. So that's a realistic game. They're at 500. They're back with the Rams Seattle this week. So this football season is going to be mad, people.
Craziness. Ready for our picks?
Yes, I am. And anything else last week that you found interesting?
Not really that I think we can squeeze in right now.
We don't want to talk anything more about why Joe Burrow is not getting the freaking talk that he should. And after he beats Philadelphia today, he's back to 4-4, and he's still cool.
We'll see.
You know what I mean? I mean, Cincinnati can't play defense, but okay, where's our picks?
So Baltimore at Cleveland. Baltimore is favored by 7.5 on the road. I'm going to take the Ravens.
Okay, well, you know what? I changed this pick so many times, but I'm taking Baltimore too because they should be better. But I think it's a division game. It's in Cleveland. James Winston's coming out.
And he's a turnover machine.
I don't care. He's going to fling the ball around and put pressure on the Baltimore defense, which is not
Baltimore's going to score a pick 6 today.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a gimme?
I think that's my call.
Wow, that's a bold statement. I'm saying that this is going to be my weakest pick of the week because I'm saying that if Cleveland covers, I'm not going to be surprised. But I'm taking the Ravens.
Okay. Indianapolis at Houston. Houston's favored by 4.5. Give me the Texans at home.
All day. They should crush them. Crush them. You know, even though Indy's defense is better than people look like. If you check the metrics, you ever check the metrics on the numbers? They don't make sense. Look who the top 3 teams are defense in the league. When you look, you go, how did they get here? Who? Anyway, continue. Green
Bay at Jacksonville. Green Bay's favored by 3.5 on the road. This spread actually went down. I'm going to take Green Bay.
It went down?
Yeah. They were favored by like 4 points before.
And now it's 3.5. You're taking Green Bay?
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay.
I think this is a trap game. I'm taking Green Bay too because they're the better team, but I had the Jags. I switched it over too. That's 2 games in a row. I think the Jags can win at home. Like, you know, one of those weird games.
Even though they're coming back from London?
They're comfortable. They came back in private planes. Everybody. The Shaw took great care of them.
Well, I don't know. When we use that excuse to like New England, they're going to London and like the Jacksonville's stayed there. It kind of works the other way too, that logic, don't you think?
I'm taking Green Bay, and I'm not confident.
Okay. Tennessee at Detroit. Detroit's favored by 12.5 at home.
Give me 15. We're crushing.
I was going to say give me 20.
Crushing.
Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Atlanta's favored by 2 points on the road. Give me the home dog, Tampa Bay.
Well, this is where I'm just going to make a complete fool of myself because I know nothing about football. I'm going to take Atlanta again.
Okay.
Again.
New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Jets favored by 7 points on the road. Not sure if the Patriots win, but I think they cover. Give me the Pats.
I'm taking the Jets because they're going to have another week to go with Devontae. They're going to tighten up their defense. New England's New England. They're going to keep it tight for 3 quarters.
I know Drake May's looking good. I think he's going to find a way through that now leaky Jets defense.
They shouldn't be leaky. They should tighten up.
But they are leaky ever since Salah's been canned.
They better do something.
They went from allowing 15 points a game to 25-30.
In 2 games. It's insane. And they got the personnel. I don't get it. Maybe they put it together now.
I think they fucked up firing the coach.
If they lose, maybe if the Jets lose today, Their season's over.
I don't know if the Jets are going to lose, but I think New England covers.
Okay.
Chicago at Washington. The line was moving around because of Jaden, but it looks like Jaden's going to play. Washington's favored by 1. Give me the Commanders.
I'm taking the Bears to steal a young team.
Wow.
I'm taking the Bears on the road.
Arizona at Miami in the 2-0 return game. Miami's favored by 4 points at home. Give me the Dolphins.
Okay, this is another one of those games where I just went, what's the spread again?
4 points.
I took the Dolphins too, holding my nose.
New Orleans Saints at the LA Chargers. Chargers favored by 7 points at home. Give me the Chargers.
All day, I think they're going to win by 10. They're going to win by double digits at home, you know?
Saints suck.
Because that was a weird game on Monday night. Remember when they played the Arizona?
Yeah.
Like, that was such a weird game. They should have won. Then they had the turnover, and then,
Yeah, they lost by 2 points.
Yep.
Buffalo at Seattle. Buffalo's favored by 3 points on the road. Give me the Bills.
We got a lot of picks the same. I'm taking the Bills, too.
Philadelphia at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals favored by 2.5 at home. I'm going to take the road dogs. Give me the Eagles.
I'm taking the Bengals all day and the resurgence of Joe Cool.
We'll see. Kansas City at the Las Vegas Raiders. Kansas City's favored by 9 points on the road. I don't think Vegas wins, but I think they cover.
Is Hopkins playing?
Probably.
I took the Raiders too, and I don't like it. It's in Vegas. So I'm going to take the points and take Raiders. What a dumb pick.
Carolina Panthers at the Denver Broncos. Broncos favored by 11.5 at home. Give me Denver.
All day with that defense. And it's probably going to be a low-scoring game like 17-3.
Could be.
Something like that. You watch.
Actually, that's one of the reasons why I picked Vegas, because like the over-under was like too low. I'm like, that's suspicious from Vegas.
Yes, it is.
Give me the points there.
Yep.
Dallas at San Francisco. San Francisco favored by 5 points at home. They're not looking good. I'm going to pick Dallas to steal this one on the road.
Do you go for a win outright?
I think they might.
Oh, this is why I'm going to have a rough week. I'm taking the 49ers. Thing that scares me is Dallas off a bye. Can they tighten it up? And we're not sure everybody that's going to be playing offensively for Brock Purdy. And Purdy had a rough week last week against Kansas City. But that's a Kansas City defense. Dallas should be Alice. There's no D in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm hedging my bet on. But I think these scores could be a lot closer than people realize when we get to the end of the day. You know what I mean?
And last but not least, the Monday Nighter, New York Giants at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers favored by 5.5. I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
I think I think that spread's funny too. I think it's only low because Pittsburgh doesn't score. But I think the defense is going to hurt Danny Dimes, and it's going to be like a 24-10 game or 24-7 game. Russell will get his couple passes in. You know what I mean? He'll score a couple points, and the defense will hold it down and take the under for the game. What is the over-under in it? 41?
Over-under is 36.5.
Wow, I was even lower than that. That's what I'm saying. That's why I put it so low. Maybe I'll have to take it over. 24-10, that's still only 34 points, right? Vegas is smarter than us. That's all there is to it.
All right, sir. Best of luck with your picks. You already took to the Thursday night. You already beat me there.
Yes.
So you
Rams,
already have
I
a
told
lead.
you all day. Rams it is. Anything else you'd like to say about the NFL? I just hope more people are winning. 70% of the house, the favorites won last week, so it's swinging back towards the players.
Yes.
So we've got.
You listened to McAfee, didn't you?
What's that?
You listened to McAfee.
No, I actually listened to McAfee. Said that. Was it on McAfee?
Yeah, they talked about that.
But somebody else. Well, that guy always does. The one guy on it. But I haven't listened to McAfee for the last 3 days. No, I actually heard it on NFL Network.
Oh, interesting.
One of the other Good Morning Football guys. Like I said, I got too much time in my hands. I see them all.
All right, we'll move this to the World Series, where the Dodgers are up 2-0 in the World Series. They took Game 1 in the 10th inning, a walk-off grand slam off the bat of Freddie Freeman.
Amazing.
Garrett Cole was solid in that one, though, for the Yankees. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 4 Ks, 4 hits, no walks. Flaherty was just as good, basically, for the Dodgers. 5 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 5 hits, and a base on balls.
I thought it was a great game, better game than last night. But here's my point, and I'm glad the great Derek Jeter said it on the broadcast. Screw analytics. Garrett Cole was mowing him down, and he's a playoff pitcher. Look at his record from all the teams that he's played for. Why didn't they play a couple more innings and save your bullpen? I don't get it. The same with Flaherty, but I think Flaherty was getting in a little bit of trouble, and the pitch count was high. It was a different thing because look at Garrett Cole, and he threw, 70-some pitches?
Yeah, let me see. He threw... Where is it? He threw 88.
88? Well, then give him one more inning. Let him go 100. Why not? And Flaherty, I thought, threw around the same.
He was 90. He got to 90.
So that's what I'm saying, a little bit more, and there was men on base. I'd see that. But now what happens is you get your bullpen back up, like I was saying the whole time. You throw, your arms get tired, you give up their home at the wrong time. I think what's really made this series interesting is that both teams have come out with starters. No bullpen games yet. Maybe that week off has done a good thing so we can see the traditional looking and save the arms, so to speak. But this series is never over until the home team loses. I mean,
I don't think that's true.
You think the Dodgers are just going to win?
Well, I think that's kind of like, I don't know. I think that's bullshit, though, but like holding serve with series like this. Like, you're down 2, like, you're in trouble.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, that's a big hole to dig out of. But you come home to New York and you win the first 2 in New York. Where are you? Back the same thing. So I think that I've always been an advocate of 2-2-1-1-2. I mean, 2-2-1-1-1. I've never liked the 2-3-2. Now everyone's saying it's great because you got the coast to coast traveling and all that bullshit. Okay, I get it. Whatever you're going to say. I don't think the series is over. I think it's been too tight. Last night, what's his name gave up a couple of fat pitches at the wrong time for the Yankees.
Rodon?
Yeah.
Yamamoto was great last night for the Dodgers.
Oh, but Yamamoto was amazing. And
and you dragged his dick through the dirt when the Dodgers signed him, and he's been nothing but consistent.
I can't believe where he is. And last night, he made his money right there last night. You know what I mean? And he's in line to pitch Game 7 if they need one.
Yeah.
You know what it is? And not only that, who's going to start on Tuesday? I think they got Belcher going too, right? So it'll be Belcher and
Monday, you mean?
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, Walker Buehler's going for the Dodgers, and Clark Schmidt's pitching for the Yankees.
So that should be interesting because then they got Gill to save him for Game 4. But if they go down 3-0, it's over anyway. So I think it's been very interesting. I think the high-end players have been in dramatic situations where they haven't hit or they have not. There's always a guy that shows up in the World Series. You never had anything that makes a star of himself, and it's that Tedman guy. Mm-hmm. He was already the NLCS MVP, and now look at him. He hit the big home run last night to put him up where it is.
Yep.
The only drag is Ohtani. Is he gone for the series? Looks like he dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah, it could be.
What are they saying this morning? Even my wife knows about that. They haven't said anything yet. Dislocated shoulder? Is that his pitching shoulder, by the way? I hope not.
Was his right? I don't know.
I hope not, because, come on, this is Ohtani. One of one, generational player. Everybody in the world is chasing the guy around, and he gets hurt and being aggressive.
Sure.
Being aggressive, and that's why I want him to play anyway, but it's really a drag. I don't know. If he's dislocated shoulder, I can't see him swinging a bat by Monday night.
No, probably not.
There's no juice in the world that's ever going to help that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Judge has been choking for the Yankees, so maybe that evens itself out there.
That's true, too. And you know what? Judge, and he's even admitted of his own count, Judge is becoming a piss-poor postseason player.
Yeah, was he through the World Series so far? 1 for 9 with like 6 strikeouts?
Look at him last year when they got knocked out. Look at him the year before. What was he, 2 for 19 here, 3 for 21? Is he putting too much pressure on himself?
Maybe.
Soto's looking like the man. You want Soto in there every time. He's looked really, really good.
Well, him and Stanton are both playing.
Well, Stan's about time he earned his money. He's been missing in action for about 2 years now. But, I mean, it's great to see him here. But Torres on the top of the lineup has looked great. Chisholm at third. And that's what I'm liking about this series, too. People are playing defense. You know what I mean? They're throwing the ball around at sight. Now, there's been a couple of weird plays. Like where the ball bounces in the infield and it's in no man's land and a guy gets a play, or you make a throw and you pull the guy off the bag. I get those. But I mean, there's been no blatant errors. You know, like hit the ball right at the guy and you're going to drop it and stuff like that. So what are you saying for the rest of the series?
I think the Yankees probably like win 1 or 2 in New York, but I think it's the Dodgers series to lose.
You think they're going to win it in New York, or they're going to take it back to L.A.?
I wouldn't be shocked if the Dodgers won it in 5, but I mean, they probably take it in 6.
Really?
Yeah. I said from the start, like,
I know
it's going to be an NL team winning it.
I know. I'm just saying that after the first game, which I thought was so close, even though Freeman did get the grand slam, that doesn't indicative of how close the score was. I thought the Yankees would show up last night, and it was pretty looking good for a while, but they got to come out swinging on, you know what I mean? The Borough is going to be crazy. The Bronx is going to be nuts. Everyone's there. First World Series in New York's had some, 2009? So they're going to be yelling and screaming. I hope it goes more just for the entertainment factor.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yankees-Dodgers is classic, right?
Yeah, that's what they're telling us. Certainly is.
Ready for a trivia question.
All right, Steven, what do you got for us today?
The return of trivia. It's been a minute.
Yes.
All right. Oh, and actually, before we get to trivia, just wanted to give our respects to Fernando Valenzuela.
Oh, right. How do we forget that?
He pitched 7 complete game wins to start his career and won the NL Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and Silver Slugger in 1981. And his number 34 was retired by the Dodgers last year.
Yes, it was. And number 34 was, we should have known because it was on display everywhere in there. He's a Dodger icon. Now, everyone asks why he's not in the Hall of Fame. Because he just didn't have Hall of Fame numbers.
And actually, he is the prime example of why you don't throw guys there just because to get your complete games, throw out whoever complete innings. Because, like, his second half of the 80s, basically, like, his arm was shot.
Okay, now sometimes I will give you that benefit of a doubt there because guys should know their own limitations.
Well, it's also the team that should know.
Then let's get 2 types of pitchers that were the same and they were handled completely different down the road. Pedro Martinez never did all that complete game stuff, and he went straight to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
At times, I think Fernando Valenzuela on his best day was as good as Pedro.
Sure.
But I mean, the numbers didn't go in the long run. He's from Mexico, isn't he? That machismo bullshit and all that stuff there. But he was a great guy, highly entertaining, and did not win a World Series, did he? Because he was out. He was on the team, but he didn't play.
He wasn't on the roster.
He wasn't on
the roster. Well, he still got a ring.
Yeah, that's cool.
Highly
entertaining guy. Highly.
Absolutely.
God bless him and his family.
So now we'll get to trivia. Sergio Perez failed to make it out of Q1 this weekend at his home race, the Mexican Grand Prix. Oh. How many times has he failed to make it out of Q1 this season? Oh, boy.
4.
I think it's more. I'm going to say
It's not more than 5. I heard it this morning. That's why I'm killing myself. I heard it. I think it's 4.
6.
Isn't it? I'm going to say
so.
4. The answer is...
5.
It was 5. I should have said it. I knew we were right in between. I said 4, and I just heard it this morning. It was 4 or 5. Too bad he didn't make it now because that's going to have a lot of effect on the Red Bull team and how it's going to go.
Absolutely.
Okay, now how's the time there? We're going to just say we don't have time for the gospel, do we?
No, we don't. Next weekend, I'm not sure if it's going to be a Saturday or Sunday show, so keep an eye out for that. But
okay.
We will have a show next weekend either way.
Okay, now let's get out of here because it's football on Sunday, and all I want to do is I have to do chores with the girls first.
Boy.
So I'm going to get out of here as quick as I can to get it done to hopefully that I will be sitting in front of the man cave by halftime of the first game.
Nice.
Alrighty, anything else?
My name is Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz.
And what do? We keep the vibe alive. You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.